Hey everybody, welcome to Fresh Out the Podcast, the only podcast where we talk about how handsome Drew is. I am the board game guru and game master extraordinaire, Jahananan.
I am the retired child crimes and human trafficking detective turned tabletop titan and improv comedian. I'm Casualty CDG. That's all I'm doing today, Drew. I don't have a wing nut for you.
Can I call you Gary?
No. You have to earn that right.
Okay, I will, each time that I refer to you this evening, I will refer to you as the retired child crimes and human trafficking detective turned tabletop titan and improv comedian Casualty CDG.
Yeah,
Can I shorten that to just Casualty CDG?
Yeah, I was just going to say that doesn't seem like that's going to become taxing at all. So yeah, Casualty CDG will work.
And I am the professional media and movie mastermind of the Funhouse, Drew Munhausen, and welcome to episode 28 of Fresh Out the Podcast. Thank you all for listening to us and for joining us as we discuss fun things like DC Comics, shows, and movies and things, because there's a lot to talk about.
Oh yeah, no, there's a bunch going on with the DC stuff. It's good stuff, finally. Because, my God.
Well, when I start creating outlines and stuff for the show, sometimes I'll have like a brief idea, and then I start realizing as we develop it, like there is a lot to unpack. Because like so from a comic book standpoint, which, there's no podcasts or anything that exist about the MCU or DC Comics or anything. Nobody on the internet talks about that stuff. So I'm glad that you can listen to us to find out.
I'm so happy that we found such a unique, untapped vein of information to give to these people.
Not a lot of people like movies. Not a lot of people like games, and no one is watching streaming shows.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
we're in a really nice niche.
You know what?
Luckily,
retired child crimes and human trafficking detective turned tabletop titan improv comedian Casualty CDG. You're right.
You have earned the right to call me Gary.
Oh wow! Hey, thanks, Gary.
Yeah, no problem.
It's in hindsight, like 2020 obviously was what it was, and everything got delayed and everything got pushed, and there was not a lot to talk about through that year from like a media standpoint. But now I think took for granted of how much from, especially from the Marvel side that we got in 2021, because we got 4 full-on MCU movies.
Yeah.
And then we got 5 MCU Disney Plus shows, because we had WandaVision, Falcon Winter Soldier, Loki, What If.
Bro, they went ham. Yeah.
And from the DC side, it was a pretty quiet year, because the only things they had were the Snyder Cut came out in early 2021,
which is
and
nothing.
then the Suicide Squad in August, which was great.
Which is fantastic, yeah.
I thought we all agreed to call it Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad.
I never agreed to that.
Well, I agreed with myself to call it that.
I was just laughing about...
Boy, damn would I be if this opportunity went by and I didn't say anything.
I was just laughing at Drew talking about hindsight and then talking about 2020. That was pretty good.
But have y'all realized how much DC stuff is coming out this year?
Not fully. Only some of it. Peacemaker, obviously. Batman.
They're on track to try and have a kind of a comparable year to what Marvel had last year. Now I know, like, box office wise, they don't have a Spider-Man, with multiple Spider-Mans and stuff in it, So I don't know if but they do have a Batman movie that's coming out. So these are all the things slated to come out for 2022. Okay, just from the movie side, you've got the Batman, Black Adam.
That coming out this year?
In July. The Flash. Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom.
I'm also pretty meh on the Flash and Aquaman.
And allegedly Batgirl is coming out this year also,
Mm-hmm.
which that one I believe is a movie direct to HBO Max.
I think so.
And then we got Peacemaker, has now just started dropping. And I'm not sure. I know that they were trying to do a spinoff of the Batman movie that's like a Gotham police show that's set in the world of that movie. I don't know if that's supposed to come out this year. I'm not really sure what the status is of it. I'm looking at like the Wikipedia page for DCEU, and I was so confused why the Batman wasn't on here, and I realized because it's not technically in the DCEU. So that's why.
That explains why it doesn't look like a huge piece of shit.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's a lot. You're gonna get all the Snyder fanboys are gonna be out to get you, John.
Oh
so
no! Oh no! I'm gonna get
careful.
Oh, as long as they put on deodorant before they come at me, it's fine. Fucking bunch of stink boys.
Your mentions are gonna be blowing.
That's fine. That's fine. I have no respect for Snyder Cut fans.
John, would you fight Zack Snyder?
I mean, I feel like I owe it to my entire Persian family to fight Zack Snyder. So, Zack Snyder, if you want to settle this once and for all, I'll represent Persia, and you can bring 299 of your favorite people with you. And I'll apparently bring a giant fat guy with blades for arms, because Persians are crazy. But yeah.
Hey man, I didn't agree to go.
I'll never forget how mad my dad was in that movie theater. He was upset. He was visibly upset. It was good stuff.
Well, y'all kind of made your opinions clear when I was bringing up some of these movies, because it was pretty much a response to all of them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the most intrigued probably by The Flash, just because we're supposed to get Michael Keaton back as Batman, and
Yeah.
I think Affleck's even back as Batman in that one too in some capacity, and he said that it's his last appearance. I don't know, it's just the whole DCEU confuses me, because I really thought that after the non-success of the Justice League and how that was considered a disappointment, that the DCEU was going to be done. But then obviously Aquaman and Wonder Woman did so well on their own that they got sequels. Wonder Woman's already had a sequel come out with 1984, and then there's going to be a Wonder Woman 3, Aquaman 2 out this year. The Flash movie that's coming out is, continuing the Flash from the Justice League, but obviously incorporating some sort of Flashpoint storyline in there, which could help to reset something.
That's the only way they could possibly fix the mess that they made.
Well, because that's what's so confusing to me, is that you have Ben Affleck, who was Batman in the DCEU, who is now saying the Flash will be his last appearance as Batman, which I thought he was already done. So even that's a surprise. And, obviously he'll be written out somehow. Michael Keaton's back as Batman in some capacity, and he's supposed to be in the Batgirl movie. So
Yeah.
We got Keaton, but Keaton's, not very young and spry these days. So, which you have the younger Batman in The Batman with Robert Pattinson, but that's not part of the DCEU. So it's just strange to me that you're trying to start your new Batman franchise with a new movie star in it, but it's not part of your big interconnected world. And I know that the conversation for years has been, DC, what the heck are you doing? But I think even now, still seeing the slate of stuff coming out, I still don't really know what the answer to that is. Like, what are they doing?
Yeah, what is
It's
the DC?
still kind of a what the hell are you doing? You're exactly right.
All right, man. So they either need to get their shit together, right, and control their content output and have this one charging forward vision, or they need to fucking
Snyder take over and he can do it.
Yeah, or they need to fucking stop trying and just go back to making unrelated content. They're doing both. And they need to fucking stop.
I know that supposedly they're bringing, well, they are bringing Keaton in for the Batgirl thing, but have any of you guys, I know Jahan has, Drew, have you watched Batman Beyond? Because I would love to see
That's
a
what
Batman
I'm
Beyond with
saying,
Keaton.
man.
And then if they're not going to do a Batman Beyond, maybe like a Kingdom Come setting Batman, where he's old, so he has the bat drones out protecting Gotham,
that'd be
and
cool.
he's just behind the computers.
That'd be cool.
Like, that's, I could see them making a Keaton Batman movie.
He turns everything into a police state. Yeah.
Yeah, just bringing him in as like old Bruce Wayne to train Batgirl. I guess that's cool fan service. But I would still watch a retired Batman movie with Keaton.
I want them to do Old Man Bruce in Batman Beyond with Michael Keaton so fucking bad. But I'm not.
I guess that's the thing, is there have been other people that have taken the Batman mantle at times when Bruce Wayne's been out of commission. So you could still do something, that way that would be different. And then you have your Batman franchise that's got Bruce Wayne Batman that's set in the 80s or whatever it is, with its dark and gritty tone, but then have like a fun, younger, new guy, Batman Beyond-esque character in the DCU. I don't know. It'll be interesting. I guess the main thing is there's probably nothing in line for like another Justice League type collaboration. So I guess it really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They can just do their own individual franchises and just continue those and stop trying so much to have them be interconnected, which I'm cool with as long as you just make fun, cool movies.
Yeah.
Well, you saying that reminded me that this new Batman is set in the 80s. When was Joaquin Phoenix's Joker set? Because maybe they are in the same universe.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
They both appear to be in no one else's universe.
I can't remember what that time frame was, but there has been speculation about that could be a thing. I don't know.
Because if they have any IPs that they should move forward with, in my opinion, they would be Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. I could see that character again. I don't know if I'd want another Joker movie, but the character was interesting enough. And the Suicide Squad, right? James Gunn's Suicide Squad was good. They can move forward with that IP. And obviously they are with Peacemaker.
I thought we agreed that that's called Suicide Squad, Gary.
We did.
Okay.
Thank you for correcting me. But you've lost the right to call me Gary. So.
Oh.
Yep. And I think it would be cool if Pattinson's Batman was part of that universe, and maybe even Suicide Squad is part of that universe, but just in the future. You don't know yet. We don't know yet. But I think they could still tie stuff together. It's not too late. But they've definitely made a whole mess of things thus far.
It's such a mess. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I just try not to, by talking about it as much as we have already, I guess we're diving into the territory of like thinking too hard about it. But that's what I try to avoid. And honestly, I feel like I'm always the one that's it's like sour about this type of stuff. But it's honestly one of my least favorite TikTok trends are like the Marvel fanboys that take certain lines or things that are in the background of scenes, like in the Marvel shows or movies, and they're like, this could lead to this, and this represents X, which represents the Fantastic Four, and this means that Reed Richards is coming, like that kind of stuff. I just try to sit back and enjoy the show and let them surprise me. I think a lot of the stuff of like fan connections people tried to make are stretching it a bit. If they come true, great. I think some of that stuff comes true. A lot of speculation or the fans demanding things. It happens. We saw that with Vincent D'Onofrio and Charlie Cox, on the Marvel side. But I don't know. Sometimes you see these deep dives of guys on TikTok, and I'm just like, I can't help but be the one that's watching. And maybe it's because I'm getting older, but I can't help but watch and say, don't you have literally anything else?
See, I really enjoy speculation. I think it amuses me. It entertains me. I like doing it. I like thinking about it. But sometimes, like, man, they are turning, like, crumbs into meals and shit, dude. Like,
I think it's super cool. I'm not one of those guys because I'm scared of spoilers, particularly. So I don't watch any of those because I don't want any of them to be right and be like, that guy, like, he figured it out. I'd rather just go in blind. So I think that's really cool. It's a cool hobby, and I respect the guys who analyze that stuff and do figure it out. But it's Yeah, it's not for me. When I was younger, right, I would get excited about that stuff for the upcoming Spider-Man movies, but now I'd rather be surprised by what surprises Marvel has in store.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll watch
yeah,
a
I
trailer.
agree.
I'm just not trying to analyze the trailer.
Yeah, and I mean, that being said, there was a new trailer for the Batman that just recently dropped, and I don't have too much to say about it. It looked great. I mean, the movie looks good. I'm excited for it. It showed a lot more Paul Dano Riddler stuff and really gave you a look at what the Riddler looks like and more of his voice and things, which I think is cool. The first trailer had a lot more Penguin in it, which I really think that Colin Farrell's Penguin is just going to be, maybe just at the beginning of the movie or something. I think it's going to be a small part, and the Riddler's going to be the main villain of that film. But the second trailer really got us more of a look at that. So, and a lot more Catwoman in the second trailer also.
Yeah, a lot more Catwoman. Catwoman looked dope. I liked it. I was there for it.
Yeah, I mean, it looks cool. It looks like a fresh take. I like Robert Pattinson. I'm interested to see. I'm not necessarily 100% sold on him as Batman yet, but I like him a lot, and I'm rooting for him. So I'm hoping it'll be good. But that comes out. That'll be here before we know it in March.
So you're an Edward guy. I gotcha.
I'm not an Edward guy, but I am a Robbie P guy.
Robbie P guy. Yeah. So I watched the newest trailer like very recently. I think it looks great. I think it looks really fun. It looks like it has a lot of action, a lot of, it looks gritty, and it looks like it has a good storyline. It looks like they really thought something. The Riddler, I think the Riddler going to be fucked up, man. I'm excited.
You know what doesn't look that great?
What?
Did you see the picture that they released of the new Batgirl costume?
You didn't like it?
Uh-oh.
I mean, it looks fine for a CW DC show.
That's what everyone's saying. People say it looks fine for CW, but it is.
And it stinks
comics
because
accurate.
that was my first reaction to it. Like, this looks like more for one of those DC shows on CW, and I thought that was like a really original take. And then you go find all the thousands of people that had already tweeted that before me. So I was late to the party, but I had the thought before reading it anywhere.
Okay. But yeah, no, it's it's a comic accurate Batgirl costume. I don't see the issue. I think I see what you're saying. You know what I mean? It doesn't not look kind of cheesy. I mean, it looks cheesy because it's a comics accurate costume. But I thought it looked pretty good. I thought she looked cool.
And to your point, it's like, I don't know what I would have been expecting otherwise. So yeah,
it looks pretty terrible. I'm looking at it right now.
I was waiting for the Gary take.
Yeah,
I knew what the Gary take was.
So, like, I'm thinking about the other characters in DCU, right? Like, the Flash, they stick pretty true to how vibrant his costumes are, and Peacemaker is in a ridiculous costume. Yeah. Everyone is pretty much in their comic book costumes. They're not reimagined that much for screen. So I guess that's fine, but it does look pretty bad.
I think it looks cool.
I don't think it looks cool.
I like it.
The actress Leslie Grace, she was in the Heights that came out earlier, or in 2021, which she was actually really good in. That's literally her only film credit. Like, looking at her filmography,
wow,
it's her only movie, and then now she'll be Batgirl. So, she obviously impressed enough to get the role. Good for her. It looks like the cast that's listed right now is Leslie Grace as Barbara Gordon / Batgirl. J.K. Simmons will be returning as Commissioner Gordon. Michael Keaton as Bruce Wayne. And Gary,
what?
Do you know who's playing Firefly in it? The pyromaniac villain?
I know who.
No.
Guess.
Brendan Fraser. My boy.
My boy. What's up, Brendan Fraser? Welcome back.
But he's already in the DCU.
I feel like you could be a robot and also like.
Are those shows linked to the DCEU? Not to get into that whole.
I don't think so.
Look, I don't know if anything's linked to the DCU. But now he's two characters in the DC.
Doom Patrol is linked to the live-action Teen Titans show, and I don't know if those are linked to any of the CW stuff, but I don't think they are.
I think they're their own thing too, because wasn't that all kind of launched initially on the what was that DC streaming service that launched that already got
eaten by HBO?
Yeah, I can't even remember what it was called.
I forgot that happened.
I also forgot that happened. That's not good. DC's having a rough go of it. I feel like someone was going to buy them recently.
Oh, that Batgirl costume. You know what it looks like? It looks like some shit out of Batman Forever. And with Jim Carrey and Mr. Freeze and that Robin and that Batman, that's the quality it looks like.
The best Batman movie?
Yeah, probably the worst one, which is why when I see that outfit, I'm like, boy, that looks terrible. It looks like it's right out of the worst Batman.
The worst
movie.
one was Arnold Schwarzenegger's Mr. Freeze. I actually liked him as Mr. Freeze, but that movie was probably the worst one.
Yeah, this costume looks directly out of that movie. Like, if Batgirl had been in that movie, that's the costume she would have worn.
Val Kilmer is my Batman.
Interesting take.
My Batman is Christian Bale.
That's fair. I
think even Val Kilmer would get mad at you for saying that he's your Batman.
Maybe.
But he definitely has the worst Batmobile.
Well, talking about things being bad, let's talk about something that's not bad, which is so all of us have watched the first 3 episodes of Peacemaker that just came out on Thursday.
Sure have.
And it's just funny how these things work out with superhero shows. I'm not as deep in the DC lore as I am with Marvel, so Peacemaker wasn't a character I was familiar with until John Cena was cast as him in Suicide Squad. And now here we are with a Peacemaker series. I remember thinking that news when it was announced before the Suicide Squad had even come out that they were doing a show that was interesting. And now it's here, and it's just crazy how a character I didn't even know who it was, a little over a year ago now has his own show.
Yeah.
What did y'all think of Peacemaker?
Flat my just first impression, I like it. It's good. It's good stuff. When I saw the trailer,
I was expecting you to be a lot more animated.
When I saw the trailer, I was just gonna.
I like it.
I didn't want to get too into it too fast, but when I saw the trailer, I thought it looked a lot like The Tick, and when I watched it, it did. It had a lot of that energy. Honestly, where I feel that's coming from was a lot of it was coming from the vigilante. He really, him, both of them on screen together, it's got that Tick vibe.
Yep.
Because, costume superhero just walking around like it's normal. And then, the fucking, his dad, Peacemaker's dad is, a bad guy. And,
the T-1000.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's true. Oh.
I love him as a villain. Everyone can get behind hating a Klan Grand Dragon, racist, neo-Nazi.
The White Dragon, yeah.
The only thing that made him laugh was a story about a tortured child being eaten by rats. That guy's a piece of shit. We can all get behind him being the bad guy. I'm definitely in on that villain.
Which, by the way, I'll just call it now. I think this is going to be kind of an open discussion of the first 3 episodes, so anything goes. I'm not too worried about spoilers here. So, just if anybody is out there who hasn't watched it, we're going to be talking pretty openly about this. It's just the first 3 episodes. I think there's going to be 8 total. So it's not like we're going to be spoiling the whole series here. We're just spoiling what we've seen. But
first episode. What'd you guys think? I loved all the little reveals. I loved him returning to his shit trailer. It was a mess.
That trailer was hilarious. Yeah. And then the mailbox for the trailer was even better.
Bro, and then he had that gnome with the machine gun sitting in front. Excellent.
Did you see his mailbox? The mailbox is just the trailer. It's the exact trailer.
And his trailer looks like a spaceship, doesn't it?
It's a 1.5-story American flag trailer, and his mailbox is a 2-scale 1.5-story American flag trailer mailbox.
It's pretty funny. I noticed his novel. I didn't realize that it was the same as his trailer. What a character. How'd you?
Well,
Yeah, go ahead.
and speaking of what a character,
Yeah.
just talking about John Cena in general, I think that, and this probably goes for Gary as well. Like, I think that whenever there's a wrestler turned actor, especially for us jaded wrestling fans, you
Yeah.
kind of look at them under, a bigger magnifying glass than you would others because you're just interested to see how they make the transition into acting. And John Cena is just kind of an especially interesting person just because of his wrestling persona and how he was the guy for so long. And I think with The Rock, everybody always kind of knew that one day The Rock was going to go off and be a movie star. He just always kind of had that about him. And John Cena for so long was like, I'm never leaving WWE. This is I'm here to stay. And then started, he dabbled in movies through WWE, and now, he's
very, very bad movie.
Maybe makes an occasional WrestleMania appearance, but he's not a full-time wrestler anymore. He is now a full-time actor and has done a lot to separate himself from the, just all-American good guy,
child-friendly.
Rated G, for general audiences.
Rated GG, that's John Cena.
And I mean, in movies like, oh gosh, what's the movie? Blockers. I don't know if y'all saw that. It was a comedy that came out a couple of years ago, which was surprisingly decent, a lot better than I expected, and he's pretty good in it.
Cock Blockers, the one
Cock
with
Blockers, but they just called it Blockers.
Doesn't he do like a beer bong with his ass or whatever?
I believe, yes. I think that does take place between that and Trainwreck, and then the Suicide Squad. I thought he was genuinely funny in the Suicide Squad and really good. And so, but even still, tuning into Peacemaker, I'm like, all right, Cena, like, let's see what you got. And I thought the opening scene, between him and the janitor and everything,
oh
was
my god,
really great, really good dialogue. And I had gotten a text or a message from a friend beforehand that just mentioned something about the opening sequence or something of the show as being funny, or that it was something. And man, when the actual opening credits start,
yeah, I was gonna ask how you feel about that.
I was blown away. I mean, it's brilliant. It's hilarious. It's the only opening credit sequence of any show I'm watching right now that I won't skip. I'll watch it every time. And I cannot believe that my TikTok algorithm hasn't shown me somebody recreating the dance yet. Because that's
fair.
Coming.
That's fair. That's got to be coming. Yeah, James Gunn actually said point blank that his goal with that opening credit scene was to make an opening credit scene to kill the skip button. He wanted everyone to watch it every time. I skip it. I saw it once.
I also skip it, and the first time I saw it, I was like, man, I'll never skip this. And then the second time it started, I was like, yeah, I'm going to skip this.
I'm going to skip it.
I've watched it each time. I actually watched it a fourth time because I made my wife watch it, to which she the whole time was going, this is so stupid. This is so fucking stupid. And I was like, no, this is great. This is wonderful.
How'd you guys feel about Eagly?
Eagly the Eagle. I love Eagly, and there's one particular scene that did it for me, and it was whenever Eagly had his head out the window and his tongue was blowing in the wind like he was an eagle dog. Yeah, that did it for me. I was like, I'm on board with this character. It's so very dumb and so good.
There are some points where the CG on Eagly I think is a little bit suspect, but I feel like that almost makes him funnier.
I feel like it's really good. I'm surprised, because I prefer practical effects whenever you can, but goddamn,
there are sometimes where I'm legitimately questioning if they used a real eagle or not, and then there's other times where it looks, you can tell. But yeah, I mean, from the opening credits up until the fight, at the end of the first episode, that results in literally a lady being essentially evaporated.
With you're talking about in the parking lot?
Yes.
Oh my god. Oh, that whole situation.
Of the butterflies that he's hunting.
Yeah.
The Sonic Boom helmet, that was great.
I loved all the different helmets. I loved the dad's kind of secret.
Bro, when he opened that door
lab,
and it was like a fourth dimensional gateway into some crazy storage facility, I was like, what the fuck? I wasn't expecting that.
I also think that Sorry, one of my dogs is in here and he was just shaking. I don't know if y'all could hear it. One of the interesting things with James Gunn in particular, which by the way, I knew that he created the show and I knew that he, produced it and everything. I did not realize that he was directing too. And
Same.
he directed,
I did not know that.
And I was shocked at the first episode when it said
he
written
wrote
and
it
directed
too and
by
everything.
James
Yeah, it's crazy.
So he directed the first 3 for sure. I'm looking, at least according to Wikipedia, the most trustworthy of sources. He's also 6th and 8th episodes, but there are a couple other directors that will be directing some. But James Gunn's directing over half the episodes. But I thought that was really cool. I thought that gave it even a little more oomph when you know that, kind of the man behind the character, at least the movie version of the character, is helping run the show.
I wouldn't be surprised to see John Cena get a directorial credit in this show, maybe in the 2nd or 3rd season if it keeps going, because he's a producer on this also, and he's been acting for a while, and he seems to have a pretty good grip of the character, and so I think that directing an episode is not totally out of the question. I think that he could do a good job.
I think he has I don't know if it's because of the events of Suicide Squad or if it is him understanding the character better, but the character seems better developed now. I like Peacemaker more now.
They really worked on character development really quick. Yeah. And one of the things that really helped do that was making his father such a vile, hateable piece of shit.
Yeah, I hate that guy.
And with his dad being such a piece of shit, and you can see Peacemaker pushing away from that and getting away from that, you can kind of see why he sucks, because he says things still that are, he's still shitty. Peacemaker still sucks, but he's sucking less and less, and you can see why he sucks. You can see why he's starting to suck less. You can see the character growing. They're working on the development and making you not hate him. One of the things I really liked about the show is that he is hateable in like almost an Always Sunny in Philadelphia type of way.
Yeah, Peacemaker.
In like, you're not really even rooting for him. You're just going to see what he stumbles into next. And he just is constantly getting hurt. He's getting stabbed. He's getting shot. He's falling. And he's just kind of a piece of shit. Shitty things happen to him and his life sucks. And there's something really funny about it.
Bro, his escape from the apartment where he stops to steal her records and then he's crashing out of the patios. Man, that whole thing.
I literally started crying laughing at that.
I was
laughing so hard. The 4th fall. When they broke the rule of 3 and he fell a 4th time, I lost it. I was dying.
Same. And like, I love that kind of stuff, the like deconstructing, action movie heroes and things. And how often do you watch an action movie where somebody, jumps off of one balcony onto the one below and then onto the one below that, and they do it parkour style, like it's so easy. And in that 2nd episode when he's jumping from balcony to balcony, how like each one made me cringe, like hurt me watching. They looked painful. And it happened multiple times, and each one looked more and more painful. By the end, you're like, I was literally almost squeamish at it, like, gosh, like thinking that literally his leg's gonna break or snap or something, because each one looked like it hurt so bad.
Man, them talking about the music when he was tying them up and him flirting with that woman, and then I don't know, man, so many things. And then I love the diner scene a lot, where they're just making fun of him for being a dipshit. For like, you wore your costume to the diner, and then the busboy, who you find out, like, I figured that's who that was when he got all excited. The scene where he's in the dumpster, right? And he invites that guy to an abortion. Like, the vigilante invites a coworker
talking to his coworker. Man, what an awkward conversation.
Vigilante
I was
is
crying.
Hilarious.
Oh my God.
Is it Kronos? Is that his name?
I don't know.
Kronos.
The hacker.
Oh, you're talking about the dyebeard.
Yeah, but what's his actual name?
Bro, I don't know. They keep calling him like the Economist or something.
Oh, Economos. Yeah,
John Economos is his name.
Economos. I loved him in Suicide Squad.
Mm-hmm.
I loved, and then wasn't he was in Suicide Squad, right? And then also Suicide Squad. He was in both.
Yeah, I think so.
He
was definitely in Suicide Squad.
Yeah, he was one of those characters that was in Suicide Squad that you're like, oh, good, they brought him back. Like, good that they brought, like the Office people, Waller, back. Good that they brought that hacker back. And it's good that they brought that character to this show. He's a lot of fun to watch. He seems really natural on camera. He seems like he's really being himself. And he's just he's just very pleasant to watch. He always makes me laugh. Him taking down the bodyguard with that golf club right at the end was great.
The only one of the team of like their little tactical team that wasn't in the Suicide Squad movie is the actress's name is Danielle Brooks, but I think her name is Leota.
Leota Adebayo.
Which they did a good job though of like, even though she's not part of the team from the movie, as we saw at the end of the first episode, she's Amanda Waller's daughter. Is that right? So
Correct.
she's has that direct tie. Yeah. So that's an interesting twist, I think.
Yeah, no, I love all the characters. The handler, the head handler, he's really funny too. The scene where they're trying to save Peacemaker, and like that bomb goes off, I was laughing pretty hard. I don't know, like I go through periods where I'm just watching and I'm enjoying it, and then I'm crying. I'm laughing so hard.
And I'm definitely glad that HBO Max gave us 3 episodes to watch over the, because it really gave a good start. And now I'm excited for the 4th one and for it to become, a weekly show to watch. There's a part of me that's like, man, but y'all could have just dropped 1. And I think the first episode was good enough that it could have been, 2 additional weeks that people would be really talking about the show. Maybe I'm giving it too much credit, but, but I can't complain too much for them giving us more, Yeah,
as far what? Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
As far as the success of the show goes, so like all the tick attempts failed, right? You know what I mean? I don't know if
the Amazon Live one didn't fail. Amazon failed.
Yeah, that one. I thought that one was really funny, man.
I like. There were a lot of fans clamoring for a 3rd season. And
I loved the Amazon tick show.
Give it to James Gunn and it won't fail.
So like I don't know. I have hope for this. I just don't know what the reception's going to be. The humor is very like me. I like it. I just don't know how broad it's going to reach. I don't know. I didn't do the market research, but
Yeah, I mean, I can even attest to my wife watched The Suicide Squad with me, and I think I talked about it on that episode, how she wasn't sure it was going to be her thing. She ended up laughing and thinking it was fun, and had a good time. I showed her the trailer for Peacemaker, and she laughed at points during the trailer, but after it was done, she said, yeah, you can watch it. You're good. Yeah. And I said, okay, that's fine. Just wanted to give you the opportunity. If she sat down and watched it, I think she'd probably think it was funny, but she doesn't care that much. So I guess that maybe represents some of the mainstream appeal there. I don't know.
It's pretty niche. It's a pretty niche show.
It's pretty crude compared to the other ones too. It might be the most crude superhero thing so far.
Probably. It's very violent. It's very crude. I mean, like I said, there was an abortion joke in like the first episode.
And
I haven't watched The Boys. Is alcohol. The Boys more?
The Boys
violent?
Man, I don't know. So The Boys is probably way more violent, honestly.
Oh yeah. Also, if you want to see a child get shot in the face, then watch Peacemaker.
I don't think they showed it, but you are right. True, they did it. They didn't show it. If you want to watch a shrinking man jump inside of a woman's vagina, watch The Boys. Because that happened. Yeah, that's my example of how crude that show gets. It gets pretty fucking crude, man.
Yeah, that's pretty crude.
Well, and then the only other thing that I was thinking I wanted to touch on with the Peacemaker. I don't think there's a "the" in the title. Anyway, but I thought a funny reveal at the end of the 3rd episode was once you actually see I guess alien creature that is basically a butterfly. And so that was the whole joke with the Suicide Squad is it was Project Starfish, and then it turned out Project Starfish actually was just a giant starfish.
Yeah.
and this is Project Butterfly, and it turns out the alien actually is just basically a butterfly.
Yeah, I appreciated that a lot.
I'll never forget the scene with the bodyguard kicking and throwing flaming hot Cheetos into John Cena's eyes.
Bro, Judo Master was hilarious.
We're like, 20, 30 minutes into Peacemaker conversation. There are a lot of moments in these 3 episodes. There's a lot to talk about.
Unpack, yeah.
It's a good show, and I think it's certified fresh out the podcast. I'm going to keep watching it.
I agree.
For sure. And on that note, one of the things I loved about it, the first episode I think was like 45 minutes, and the second and third ones were both right at 40 minutes, and I thought they were both crisp, went by quick, and I loved that. I think it's one of my biggest complaints about a lot of Netflix series is they push them, and I think a lot of them are too long. There's too many episodes, or the episodes go too long. A show like this, and Marvel's been doing well with this with their shows, and even the Star Wars shows on Disney Plus, but like, I'd much rather get 35, 40 minutes of just packed content that's good. I don't need, an hour of it, and, where a third of it is a drag.
Yeah.
So I thought that was, I was surprised to see the episodes were clocking in around 40 minutes.
The show definitely does not drag.
I'm going to be honest. I don't care how long your episodes are. If your episodes are 15 minutes and they're action-packed and fucking awesome, I'll watch all of your episodes and I won't complain about their length.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I want to watch good stuff.
Don't make it drag.
Same. Yeah, I don't know. Well, I can't. So before I just love the vigilante, and I love their friendship montage, and I love their whole when he catches John Cena crying scene. That might have been my favorite.
Just doing facial exercises.
No, I'm not going to turn around. You can show me your dick.
What? No, I'm not.
No, I'm not. Look at my crotch. No, that's what they say right before you get a face full of hot jizz. That's fucking just the most ridiculous conversation ever.
And always having to quote the most crude moments of the show. Thank you.
You can say jizz on the radio.
You did, Drew. You mentioned the Disney Plus content also, being appropriately edited, right? Cut down and action packed. And you guys have been watching Book of Boba, right? Mm-hmm. Both of you. I watched all of Mandalorian in the past 2 weeks. I watched from season 1.
We shamed you for having not seen it, and now
that's correct.
You're caught up.
And I'm caught up. I watched all of it, and I've watched all of Book of Boba. So I'm ready to go. Here I am. I like the twins. Where you guys at?
I love the twins. I love them. I absolutely love the twins.
Mandalorian is our Din Djarin. He's fucking awesome. Boy, is he awesome. Boba's pretty cool, but Mando, he fucking rules.
Dude, Mandalorian was like the greatest television that I've seen. It's definitely some of the best Star Wars content, period. And season 2 goes so hard. Season 2 is fantastic.
There were train heists and there's fights and oh my god, it was awesome. You're right, everything was awesome. The Darksaber is awesome. Giancarlo Esposito is an awesome villain, and having just come off of playing Far Cry 6, where he's the villain, I was so ready for more. And I got it, and he's even better. I'm not even sure which one he's a better villain in. He's such a great villain.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm a mark for Giancarlo Esposito now, and I might have been before, but I definitely am now.
So glad that you got caught up with it, Gary, and that you liked it. I think that's important too. Yeah, I think so far for me, Boba Fett's been really good. I've enjoyed because they've done a lot of the kind of parallel storylines with the past and the present basically of that show, and I think I enjoyed a lot of the stuff going on in the present a little bit more but I liked all the Tusken Raider stuff, and I like how the shows can give more lore to the things in Star Wars we already know, and I think that's what the newest trilogy of movies didn't really do, is it kind of gave us more just Star Wars story, not like expanding on the stuff that's cool.
I don't want to talk about the most recent trilogy.
Yeah, and honestly, we just had such a long Peacemaker discussion.
Yeah.
Like, I think we can probably just say
Let's just agree that the Skywalkers are the least interesting part of Star Wars, and this is awesome to finally focus on characters that aren't them.
Yes.
That family can go off to the corner of Star Wars and fuck off and show us more of Star Wars that isn't Skywalker related.
Jedis are awesome. It's cool that they exist. I like seeing them from time to time. I mean, they can be kind of boring, man.
And there's a debate to be had that modern Star Wars lends itself way better to TV series than to movies, but that's a whole other discussion too. But so Peacemaker, certified fresh out the box.
100%.
Book of Boba Fett, certified fresh out the box so far.
Absolutely. How much? So you've seen all of it, right?
Yeah. The Rancor.
Oh man, dude. Yeah, the whole Danny Trejo. That was great. I was like, what the? I wasn't expecting that. Yeah.
Oh man, I love Danny Trejo's gonna get a recurring role.
Yeah, it looks like he's gonna stick around. I wasn't expecting that.
It was fun to see. I don't think it was that surprising knowing Robert Rodriguez's level of
fair
in the show and directing, but that's still, I thought it was cool.
I didn't even think about that. That's hilarious.
It's not surprising, but it is awesome. And him being a Rancor trainer is such a good fit for him. Also,
it's so cool.
I want to see more of the Rancor trainer. I'm loving Boba Fett and the way he's handling business and handling his court, and even the mayor's lackey. I love the way that he delivers his lines. He's such a smarmy shit. And I ended up looking that guy up. And he's been an actor in just like a handful of things that you haven't heard of, but he's a Hollywood writer. And he's written for a ton of movies and a bunch of comedies. And so this is one of his biggest roles he's ever had, which I thought was really cool because he kills it. He's such a good job. Yeah, I love that character. I tell you, I was not feeling the new speeder bikes.
It was kind of the general consensus between everybody I talked to was like, it's
kind of weird.
It was kind of cool in theory, maybe not so great in execution. And we kind of were making Gary and I were in a chat with some friends, and they were basically making fun of how slow the speeders seemed. It was
they did the slowest seem really slow.
That's because they weren't speeders; they were Vespas.
Yeah, they looked like Vespas. Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of their design. The Power Ranger color is a little silly. I enjoy the young gangster being taken in. The young gangsters being taken in by Boba and kind of like that whole thing. I enjoyed that.
The droid. I loved the design of the gang who are augmented with droid parts.
Yeah,
and such.
Very cool.
So I really like it on paper. I love, like Jahan said, him bringing up this young gang, and they're probably going to be his trusted lieutenants by the end of it all. And it's really cool that they're half droids, they're augmented, they're having a hard time. He's, they just fit exactly what he needs. But I don't like their actual aesthetic. I think the droid parts look cool on them, but their clothes are super clean and super modern. And Tatooine, for the most part, we've seen all sorts of different outfits over the years, but nothing that quite sticks out like you picked it up at a Hot Topic.
Yeah, a lot of people were upset with the clothes. It is a little off, but it wasn't.
Clothes are off, their bikes are off. It really just seems like those characters were pulled from a different universe and dropped into Tatooine.
It's not a deal breaker for me. I still think it's fine, and they are competent, and I enjoy that. I love the Wookiee bounty hunter. That shit was top tier. That might have been my favorite part. Both his introduction in episode 2 and his use in episode 3 is fantastic. I was so there for it. And I love the twins.
Back. Oh. The Wookiee will certainly be back. The Wookiee biting was such a terrifying weapon.
It's biting.
That is a character from the Marvel Star Wars comics that now has been brought to life on screen because
Okay.
the Wookiee, I'm going to say his name wrong. I believe it's Black Chrysanthemum, I think is his
I think
name.
so. I think that's right.
And he, in the Darth Vader series of comic books, was actually with Boba Fett. Like, they were working together as bounty hunters. So now, and the Darth Vader series of comics, I believe, took place between A New Hope and Empire, if I have my information right. Or maybe, I can't remember. So anyway, that's in the past. So now it's interesting seeing them be on opposing sides, which I think lends itself well to when, Boba Fett let him go and said, no hard feelings, because they get it. It's part of the job. Thought that was good.
Yeah, he basically said, "Don't work for Huts. You can't trust a Hut."
Yeah,
definitely one of those things where you don't need to have read the comics, but if you have, you just get a little bit more reward out of it. I don't think it takes away anything from watching the show.
Yeah, I love the Wookiee.
Read it, I mean.
I wasn't expecting Huts, like, not for any reason in particular. It makes sense for them to be there. I wasn't expecting it, and when they were revealed, I kind of was like, "Oh my god!" And
yeah, the only thing I needed was more Huts. That was awesome.
It was awesome.
They're gross, and they're how do you make Jabba the Hutt more gross? You make two of them. One's a male, one's a female. They're twins, and they're intertwined and touching each other the whole time. So they're like these weird incestuous slug twins. Oh man, they're absolutely vile. They're great as disgusting crime lords in space. It's exactly what you want on the screen.
Yep, I was also pumped to see Hutts. Just because give me more Hutts in all of Star Wars as far as I'm concerned. Give me a Hutts TV show. Give me Hutts. Give me all the Hutts.
I'm excited for when this catches up to Boba Fett in The Mandalorian.
Mm-hmm. From his past storyline.
Yeah, from his past storyline. I'm excited to see it catch up to there. And then I'm excited for the present, maybe to have some cameos. I guess my last question would be, if you could pick anyone from The Mandalorian to show up in the present timeline of the Book of Boba Fett, who would it be? Anyone, including like bad guys, whatever.
For the Mandalorian to show up in Boba Fett.
Yeah, I'm a bit torn. It'd be cool if Mando himself showed up. It'd be awesome if Ahsoka showed up.
Well, they are doing an Ahsoka show.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if she did somehow tie in.
Yeah.
Give me more of that Bill Burr.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe Bill Burr.
That's probably what I would have said too.
If you want to bring Bill Burr on full time in Boba's court, I'd be okay with that. I could watch Bill Burr every week shooting people and talking shit.
I'd also be very cool with Katie Sackhoff's Bo-Katan showing up as well.
So are we saying Book of Boba Fett
certified fresh?
Certified fresh out the box?
Certified fresh. While we're on Disney Plus, I just wanted to talk about Eternals real quick. It just came out last week. I could pretty much sum it up with one phrase, which is no thank you.
Did you watch the whole thing?
Did you finish it, Gary?
Yeah, I have nothing else to say.
No, did you finish watching the movie?
No, I think that's what he's saying.
Oh, okay.
He's not at liberty to discuss that. He just no thank you.
No thank you.
Okay. I mean, that's an opinion.
Thanks.
It wasn't the best.
It might have been the worst.
It wasn't. It definitely wasn't the best of the MCU. I don't think it was the worst, personally.
It might have been the worst, though.
Maybe. Parts of it were really good, though. Parts of it were really good, but as a whole, it wasn't my favorite. I wanted to like it more.
I wanted to like it, too.
I liked the past stuff a lot. I would have watched the whole ass past Eternals movie.
I think the sad part is that I saw it, in theaters back in November. So I saw it, and it happened.
Yeah.
And it's gone. Like I don't know if I even remember that much. I
liked it better than Ghostbusters.
I liked all the different power levels they had, and I thought it was funny that Kumail Nanjiani was basically just Jubilee. Like, He just wore a dope fucking jacket and threw sparklers at people, and everyone else had badass lasers, and his were kind of just like pew, pew. And it didn't do a whole lot.
Yeah.
Those heroes were pretty. The Eternals are pretty forgettable, almost all of them. And I don't know if that's a fault of the characters or a fault of the director, but I didn't know who any of the Guardians of the Galaxy were, and now they're all household names.
Yeah.
And I didn't know who any of the Eternals were, and I still fucking don't.
Yeah, and the main difference there is, the main Guardians team is half the amount of people as the Eternal Squad, but I don't know if that really matters that much because Guardians introduced so much in one movie.
Sure.
As far as the MCU is concerned. But yeah, I mean, again, similar to the take on Batgirl's outfit, the take on Eternals for me, this isn't an original take by any means, but just seems like it could have been a much better series and focus an episode on each character and give more background on them and get to know them because there's so many. Because I think that was my take when I saw it, and I think what I said on here was just I sat and watched it. I didn't have any emotional attachment to anything. I just kind of watched it, and then it was done, and I said okay, and that was it. I was never really truly invested in it.
There are some parts I really liked. Like I said, I like the past stuff. I really liked the relationship between Angelina Jolie's character and Gilgamesh and their whole thing.
I thought her character was awful.
I actually liked her character a lot more than I expected it to.
And I thought that she was terrible too. She just seemed like Angelina Jolie.
I liked her. In it, if I'm being completely honest. And what else was I going to say? Damn it, I was going to say something else, but I forgot. No, it's okay. I mean, I like parts of it, but it's definitely not the best. And
I think the ones that I liked the most were Kamal Nanjiani, for sure, which I believe his character's name was Kango or something. It's something like that. And I liked Brian Tyree Henry.
Is that Druig?
Just because I like him in general.
Druig?
Yes.
I like Druig.
Druig was cool.
Stuff.
Druig was very cool. Oh, no, Druig's the one that controls minds.
Yeah, I thought he was a good little villain. Good little villainous, good scary character, rather.
Oh, yeah, I like him too. I like that actor. He's an interesting guy, and he plays an interesting guy in a lot of stuff.
A lot of the characters are really cool individually. The ensemble didn't really go well. But, the other thing I was going to say, Kit Harington, like, what the fuck? Like, I really thought that there was going to be more going on there. I thought he was going to be, like, a part of the movie in any way, shape, or form. But he wasn't, and it was weird.
Looks like he's going to be a part of the future of it in some capacity. So.
Yeah, I mean, he's like, I found out stuff about my family. It's like, who the fuck cares? Like, you weren't in the movie. I don't know. But that was one of my big, what's going on kind of moments. But, yeah, I mean, the Eternals, it could have been better. I'll agree. It definitely could have been better.
It was a big floor full of puke.
Gary.
Eterno, thank you.
Eterno, thank you.
Well, fair enough. Well, while we're talking about our takes for the week, I want to talk about Scream. So back in, I think, October around Halloween, I watched the first Scream, and I told y'all about it, that I had, was surprised I'd never seen it. I have now watched the entire franchise, including the newest film that came out just this week. So I watched Scream 2, 3, and 4. And first off, that series is really consistently good. Like, even the ones that are weaker are still have a lot to enjoy about them. And the first one came out, I think, in 96. The second one came out like less than a year later because the first one was so successful. And then the third one came out in 2000. Flash forward to 11 years later, they had the fourth one came out in 2011. Fast forward to another 11 years later, and we're getting the fifth one. And I'll say this. I kind of feel bad, like, as if I'm a hardcore fan of the franchise when I've literally just watched them all for the first time, like, within the past month. But I just enjoyed them so much, and I think it's still the newest one. I still got a lot out of it since I did revisit them, and I think that fans of the series will find a lot to like. All the tongue-in-cheek kind of meta humor is still there, and I think it's still funny and it's still creative. They find new ways to be creative with it, while also still sticking to the formula. So, yeah, so that's Scream. It's good. The new one, Scream 5,
I actually think
but
it looks
not
really
called
good.
Scream 5. It's
I
just
actually think
called
it looks
Scream.
really good. I know my older brother saw it and said he liked it a lot. I don't know. I will watch this one. Is it available anywhere other than... Is Scream available anywhere other than theaters?
Only in theaters.
Only in theaters. All right, I might have to wait,
Only in
or
theaters.
I might have to go to the theater.
So that's that. Oh, also just a shout out to another podcast I like, on The Big Picture, which is the Ringers movie podcast. They did an episode in late December that's the oral history of Scream, and it's just the oral history of the first Scream movie. It includes interviews from a lot of the cast and producers and people that worked on the film, and it's a really, really good listen if you're a fan of the series, and especially a fan of the first movie, which is 25 years old now, which is kind of crazy.
Wow.
But yeah, so that's Scream. Also, as far as movies go, I saw Sing 2. So, and it was fun. And it's cute and fun. And if you like the first Sing, it's more of that. And it's kind of like a, what do they call it? Like a jukebox musical or karaoke musical. It's pop songs that and like that you can tap your feet to and watch, and they're animals, and they made it bigger scale than the first one, and it's fun, and I enjoyed it. That's it. That's all I got to say about it. It's Sing 2. Not bad. It's fine.
Are you sure it's not called Sing 2ing?
What is that? What are you doing?
I'll do
I
the
don't
thing.
understand the joke that you're trying to
Yeah,
make.
what is happening?
I'm making fun of Suicide Squad.
Oh,
That was a bad joke.
Yeah, it was a bad joke. It was a bad joke.
Boo.
I'll take that one.
Boo.
yeah.
Okay,
Just
then.
take that. Put that one back on the top shelf,
Your
man.
booze
Leave it up there.
sustain me.
As far as movies go, I don't know if this counts. It's not really a movie, but it still has the runtime of a movie, and I feel like I owe it to fans of the Harry Potter franchise for me to talk about this after I just ripped them apart a few weeks ago talking about that trivia show. On New Year's Day, HBO Max came out with a 20th anniversary reunion kind of special about the Harry Potter series. It's 20th anniversary of the first movie in particular. And so they had, the three main actors there and a lot of the supporting cast there, and it's actually a pretty nice retrospective on the film franchise. And to me, what I said about the trivia show still stands. I really don't like it in that part of the fandom or fan service. However, this 20th anniversary to me was the Harry Potter fan service done correctly. It's nice. It pays a nice homage to the movies. It really shows how much these actors have grown and how it affected them and built them as people. And it dives into that. And that's stuff is very interesting. Like, how do you go from being unknown to being truly the most popular fictional book character on the planet, and how does that affect your life and truly, essentially 20 years of your life, because now that's you're identified with that, and they talk about it, and I think that's cool.
Yeah, that's got to be crazy to be 12 years old and be a household name that comes out of everyone's mouth, and not just your character, but literally your name. Everyone knows Daniel Radcliffe. Everybody knows Emma Watson. Sorry, Ron, but
Some people know Rupert Grint.
There you go, John.
He's on Amazon. He's on that M. Night Shyamalan produced Amazon or Apple TV Plus show. So he's working.
He's still around, yeah.
I didn't say he's not working. I said he's not really a household name.
His name is Rupert Grint, and I know that there are people who are those Harry Potter fans. They're yelling at you now. Now it's you that's taking their heat.
Yeah, try to push their heat off.
Oh yeah,
try to push their heat off on me, Drew.
No, so I did catch some of this, and it was cool. I want to watch the whole thing, but it was just on, and I was, I think, feeding a baby at the time. So
that's on HBO, right, Drew?
Yeah, it's on HBO.
It is.
Harry Potter, yeah.
I've
Perfect
seen
type
that
of thing to
pop up a
throw
few
on
times.
your TV, like while you're in bed about to fall asleep. Like it's perfect for that.
I've got an HBO. I've got two HBOs for you.
Okay.
first I need to see Harry Potter. That's why I was like, hey, isn't that HBO? I've been seeing it pop up. I need to watch that. That seems like a lot of fun, that anniversary. But also on HBO right now is the newest season of Righteous Gemstones. It just released. It just dropped. 2 episodes came out. So kind of in the same, like you were saying about Peacemaker. Maybe not 3 episodes. 2 episodes is enough to get you hooked in this one. I'm kind of a fan of Danny McBride. I like his comedic styling, even though it's terrible and immature. I think it's really fucking funny because I could tell how much of their work is improv. In this season, Danny McBride is not the catalyst for the show. He's not the fuck up this time. And in almost every single Danny McBride piece of of movie or media that exists, him screwing up is sort of what the plot is revolved around. He's just always such a screw up. And in this one, he's trying to fix the screw ups, but he's just kind of a hateable, lovable scamp screw up in the meantime. He's not the problem, is what I'm trying to say. So he's a little bit more fun to watch when he's not the problem.
Yeah,
I'm liking Righteous Gemstones second season.
I never watched Eastbound and Down.
So I that's literally my problem with Eastbound and Down is he is just so hateable.
That's what I was going to say. Is that kind of where that comes from? Because isn't it the same folks behind Righteous Gemstones?
So from what I understand, it's his production studio. He has his own, and him and HBO sort of have a friendly deal because he can produce stuff at a pretty affordable rate, and most of the stuff he makes has kind of a cult following. And so he was able to make Eastbound and Down, and that was a pretty big hit for them. And then he made, I think, Vice Principals, and that's a pretty big hit. And then now there's Righteous Gemstones. And so each one, he's not doing, 12 seasons. He's just doing 2 or 3 and then going to the next one and going to the next one. And he's kind of making them with a lot of the same actors and comedians as well. So it's fun to watch. It kind of reminds me of, the Rat Pack or Judd Apatow's little crew. But Danny McBride's got his own little group over there on the side he's working with. And they're putting out some pretty good stuff. The last thing on HBO is How To with John Wilson. The final episode of season 2 came out. So if you haven't watched that, I know I've talked about it before. It's fun. It's quirky. It's kind of a social documentary of Americans. And the editing and voiceover is hilarious. So the show is, like you said, something to throw on in the background, Drew. Now that you've thrown on the Harry Potter thing in the background, put on How To with John Wilson, and you'll realize that you can't not stare at the screen. You'll be mesmerized. Like, what is this fucking weirdo doing? It's kind of the exact opposite. It will just suck you in, and you'll be hypnotized by John Wilson. So I recommend that while you're on your HBO. So be busy on HBO this month was kind of my point there.
Well, and going off that, there's a show that Jahan talked about, I think a couple weeks ago, that I started watching that's also on HBO Max. It's a original, and it's called Station 11. And its finale, I think, I think the last episode just came out.
Is Station 11 the one where humanity lives on a space station and they send humans to Earth to see if it's habitable?
No. I mean,
there's a bunch of space shows out. No, what's the premise of this one?
So the premise is, which the opening of the first episode really hits close to home with everything.
Way too close, man.
With the pandemic, but it's basically a killer flu breaks out and affects people very quickly and kind of wrecks havoc. And as far as what I've seen so far, going from the first episode, there's a few people that catch wind of what's happening. They gather supplies, lock themselves up, and try to wait it out and survive. And then the show ends up cutting to the future, 20 years in the future, where there are people that have survived this flu and have started to reshape society. So it's a kind of post-apocalyptic type show, but it cuts back and forth to pre-pandemic, to as the pandemic's happening, to 20 years in the future. And it kind of does the type of thing where there are characters in the present time that aren't there in the future, so you know that something must happen to them, but you don't know what or how, that kind of thing.
The jumping around is handled well. It's not confusing like it is in a lot of shows.
Yeah, and to that note, I think when you explain the premise to somebody, it's a flu and it's, the apocalypse and it cuts to the future, like that sounds really simple, but there is something about the show and how it's done that feels very elevated compared to other shows. Like it is smart. It does seem like it's going places. Like I've only watched a couple episodes so far, so I'm not sure exactly where it's going yet.
I think I've watched the first 2.
Yeah, so it's interesting. It just seems like it's gonna be smart about what it's doing, I guess is the best way
I'm hoping
to put it, for this kind of prestige TV, which, speaking of TV shows, so not on HBO Max, but I'm always the movie guy and I rarely have TV shows to update, but I've been watching Station 11 and I've been watching a show that's on Showtime called Yellow Jackets. Have y'all heard of Yellow Jackets?
I've heard of it. I have not seen it.
So its finale actually airs this weekend. It hasn't aired yet. And it gives me major Lost vibes in a sense, which I'm a big Lost fan, so naturally this is going to draw me in. It is about a high school girls soccer team who are going to nationals, and they're playing in 1995 is when they're in high school. Their plane going to nationals goes down in the Canadian wilderness, and they are stranded there. And they're stranded there for 19 months. And the show cuts back and forth between 95 and 2021. So with some of the girls that are adults and back in society, and then it'll cut back to what they went through. So there's a lot of kind of allusions to what happened, but you're finding out as the show goes along, because it's cutting back and forth, that these girls, they've been through some stuff, and basically I'm not even there yet. So like I'm I think 5 episodes in, and there's 10 total. And so I'm still learning things, but like it looks like they might have to turn to cannibalism at some point, or things like I mean, it gets into like crazy territory.
Lord of the Flies.
And so so it cuts back and forth, and there's just like a lot of crazy stuff happens. There's some really good casting too. Like 2 of the girls in the future timeline, like one of them's played by Christina Ricci, one of them's played by Juliette Lewis. So there's some names in the show, and actually some of the girls, the younger versions, I've seen popping up all over the place. One of the Yellow Jackets, one of the young versions, actually it's the girl that plays the young version of Juliette Lewis, was the lead of that droid gang in Book of Boba
nice.
Fett.
I liked her.
That girl is one of the main cast members in Yellow Jackets, and in the new Scream, one of the main kids that's introduced in the new Scream movie is also in Yellow Jackets. So I'm like, man, I'm really digging the show, and now the cast members from the show are already popping up all over the place. So that's kind of makes it fun.
So Yellow Jackets, so I haven't seen it. Where can I watch it?
It's on Showtime.
It's on Showtime.
Okay. I have Showtime through Hulu.
Okay.
So I watch it on Hulu, but you do have to have the Showtime subscription through Hulu.
So I do. So this actually, you touched a lot of my buttons here, and it sounds really good. I was not a Lost guy. Drew likes touching my buttons. It's okay.
But now his hands stink.
Why do they stink? All right. But so I think I was talking last time about how I like anything that's like Swiss Family Robinson, like surviving in like a weird situation kind of thing like this. I don't know. I've always enjoyed that line of, I don't know what you would call that. I guess maybe just survival. But this sounds dope, man. I actually will watch this. I can guarantee it.
It's been really good so far, and each episode, has some new reveals, and again, it's Showtime show, so it's graphic at times. It's not afraid to be a little bloody if it needs to be. There's some gore, there's some some parts that are almost a little bit creepy at times. So I mean, it's good stuff. I really like it.
No, I definitely this you got me. I'm coming to watch this. I also need to keep watching Station 11. About Station 11. First episode like had me hooked. After that, it was like the second episode was very interesting. I wasn't expecting the whole like traveling theater aspect. And then they kind of, you're right, they kind of dig at some like hidden purpose in Station 11 with like the tattoo thing, and that could go either way for me. I don't know. Sometimes that kind of stuff is done very badly, but it could be good.
I'm with you on that. I think I've also only watched the first 2 of Station 11, and I think it's very good. It's very well made.
Very good.
But the first episode had me like, oh yeah, I'm on board. The second episode had me a little bit more like, is this going to be more of a slow burn? But it's still pretty interesting. Whereas like Yellow Jackets for me, it moves. It's good.
I'm gonna have to finish both of those.
That's it for my takes for the week. But Jahan, I think you had a couple other things you wanted to touch on.
I had a couple things I wanted to touch on. First off, I watched the first new episode of Attack on Titan. It's the final part of the final season. They're finishing it off. I like just watched this first episode that I've been waiting for. Season 4 is fucking insane. So like season 3, it gets to a point. Season 4, I don't know, they do like a fast forward, they do all this stuff, everything changes, all the characters develop to like their final character form. It's fantastic. It's so good. I love this show. If you're an anime fan, you better be watching Attack on Titan.
Yeah, I know that a lot of them, probably all the way through season 3, are already dubbed, subbed, and ready to go on Hulu. So
yeah, you can watch them on Hulu.
Season 5 is the one that's out right now?
It's the second half of season 4, I believe.
Okay. And those are probably not dubbed.
They are being released weekly as they are coming out live on Hulu, which I appreciate, Hulu. Thank you. But I'm loving I loved every second of this new episode. It was just jaw-dropping revelation after revelation. And then, so what I've been doing, it's not particularly productive when you're a podcaster talking about new media, but I've been rewatching all of the Marvel Netflix stuff. I finished the first 2 seasons of Daredevil. I'm on Jessica Jones, season 1, and then I'm probably going to do Luke Cage and the Defenders.
I think you left one out.
You did leave one out.
I am not going to rewatch Iron Fist. You can't make me, because it is garbage. It is garbage.
That's not a hot take. You're right about that. You're just factually right about
Netflix spent so much money on garbage. They would have been better off going to the dump and buying actual garbage. I would have watched them film it. It was a piece of shit. Fuck you.
I would have been a better Iron Fist because I'm just fucking funnier than he is.
It was not good. But yeah, I like some of the characters. I like Colleen a lot from Iron Fist. She was cool.
Yeah, true.
And, stuff like that. So there are things. And the crossover stuff's always good. Rosario Dawson can almost fix anything. But yeah, so I'm blown away by how gritty it is. I forgot how good this shit was. It does hold up on a second watch, even with all the MCU stuff going on. But it's just making me so hungry to see Daredevil and, Moon Knight and all of them, like, team up in the MCU. I would love it. I want Daredevil to show up in the Moon Knight show. I want the Punisher to show up. I want them to do a Marvel Knight series. I don't know if they will. I think that a rated, like an adult part of the MCU could be good. But they seem very hesitant to do so.
I don't think you're the only Marvel fan that has been revisiting some of these shows due to Spider-Man No Way Home and Hawkeye, bringing some of these characters back. Because I feel like every time I've logged into Netflix recently that Daredevil and those shows, Daredevil especially, it just seems to be popping up more towards the top again. Or like whereas they were kind of buried on Netflix for a while after they got canceled, I feel like now on Netflix originals or, what's popular right now, I feel like I've seen Daredevil in there. So I think there's been a lot of people that have been either jumping back into it or maybe watching for the first time.
Yeah, the Defenders is trending right now as well. Yeah, I don't know, man. They hold up, but like Disney, I don't think Disney can do it, man. I really don't. Because the more I'm watching, the more I think it's not going to happen because of how fucked up this shit is. Like, Jessica Jones, right? The whole premise, this woman was mind controlled for like a year or whatever and like raped a bunch. And then like she has to get an abortion pill for like another person in jail so that she doesn't have a monster baby. Like, it's dark. It's really I just don't know if the MCU is going to touch that stuff. Maybe we'll see like more friendly versions, but I feel like that would almost defeat the purpose entirely.
Well, no, again, you could get into so many deep dives here, which I won't.
Yeah.
I'll just scratch the surface as far as, going back to Peacemaker. Like, we'll see how successful that is for HBO Max. Is that a one and done season? Or are they planning to do more? I don't know.
They'll get another season.
And you've got Deadpool supposedly will be, Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool will be in the MCU, and we know how those movies
and
were,
rated
and
R.
how graphic and how and how crude the character can be.
Yeah.
And you would think that they would keep that because that's been part of the success of it in the going into the MCU and to some capacity. You can have it toned down for team ups and then his own stuff be rated R. So you would think that with some of the other shows or series, they might want to venture into that territory in the MCU. But
and for
yeah,
what it's
I don't
worth,
know. We'll see.
With abortion being sort of a topic, they did pick up the Orville. The Orville has a ton of episodes about, not a ton about, but they've got episodes about abortion, episodes about gay marriage. And so the Orville is pushing those things also. So I don't think Disney's afraid of the subject matter. Sure. You're right. It's, in particular, the one you're talking about is darker. But they're not scared of the subject matter. And I don't know if they'll go that way, but I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't, just because of Peacemaker, as R-rated as that is. Disney won't be left behind.
Yeah.
Well, and Hulu is mostly Disney now, and so, but like, interestingly enough, Free Guy is
going to Disney Plus.
Going to Disney Plus, which I think it's also going to be on HBO Max.
That's
as well.
Weird.
Because
really weird.
There's weird. The same thing happened with that movie. It's an animated movie called Ron's Gone Wrong, and it came out on Disney Plus and HBO Max on the same day. And it sounds like Free Guy will be on Disney Plus, which that's, it's not like an R-rated crude but it has some different themes in it. It's a little bit more, I think, edgy than some MCU stuff, if I'm remembering correctly. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe they're starting to experiment with that. Whereas, the Alien TV series they're making based off the
is that
movie
a
series
thing?
Well, yeah, it's going to be on Hulu.
Thank you. That's very good news. I'm excited.
That's a Fox property that now Disney owns, but that show will be a Hulu thing. So, they are splitting stuff up, but I couldn't imagine them separating any MCU properties.
I couldn't either. I wish they would.
They might be, or how violent.
Because I would like some more Hellstrom to cross over with stuff, maybe. I enjoyed that. Oh, yeah, but Kevin Feige did confirm Deadpool 3 rated R, so that's good. Woo! That's a load off. But yeah,
anything else for you, John?
The only thing else, The Boys Season 3 is coming June 3rd. I'm very excited. I love The Boys. My whole family loves The Boys. My mom and dad both love it. Oh man. There was a couple scenes where I didn't think my dad was going to be okay because he was laughing so hard. Like, he went to the floor. Like, and I'm excited to watch this new season with my family.
On Thursday, January 20th, that is just 5 days from now, or 4 days from the release of the podcast, that's when we're getting Rainbow Six Extraction on Game Pass, day one release. I watched some stuff for Extraction, and I'm not, excited for it, right? But it is going to be free.
It's going to be free. One. I'll play it with you, buddy.
It has a horde survival mode, Jahan, where it's like a demon defense. You're in a broken down castle or some shit, and demons are attacking, and you're running around killing them and looting up and stuff.
It has Black Ops zombies.
It does. It has Black Ops Zombies with demons. So at least there's, I didn't play Black Ops Zombies, but people liked it. So at least there's that. At least we can kill demons
Black Ops Zombies
together.
was dope, and one of the versions of it, they actually brought George Romero as a zombie, as a bad guy. Like a boss, which was cool. But yeah, no, I will play Rainbow Six Extraction.
Yeah, I'm on board anytime I can shoot demons with my friends. Even if it's a piece of shit, I'll just uninstall it. It's free on Game Pass day one.
Yeah, I feel like I want to talk about it more, but next episode we're going to be doing a lot more video game talk. So I guess we can do it then.
Yeah, I'll talk about Deep Rock Galactic. I want to talk about it too, but I have a lot to say. So you're right. Let's hold off until next week.
I have a lot of stuff to say. But yeah, that was all my fresh takes.
And as another little sneak preview, these guys have given me full permission to just do a deep dive on movies award season next week. So get ready for that.
Get ready for buckle in, buckaroos.
All right, well, if that's it. I think that's it for episode 28 of Fresh Out the Podcast. You can find me at Drew Munhausen on Twitter. And where can everybody find you and know what cool shows y'all are streaming now?
No, bro, you can find me. I'm Johananon. I'm at RockFact on Twitter. I'm at Johananon1 on TikTok. Follow me for, just TTRPG, board game news, that kind of stuff. I'm always talking about it, always in it.
I am at Casualty CDG, and you can find me at Casualty CDG on pretty much all of the social media things. I'm a retired detective, and now I do comedy stuff. Me and Jahan play tabletop games and board games also. We do that like 3 nights a week. You can find us at twitch.tv/Jahan and I. We're doing it live Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays from 8 p.m. until 11 p.m. And then, of course, you're hearing us now on Fresh Out the Podcast. But tell your friends. We've got over 1,000 downloads. It's a cool thing, man. We're pushing up on episode 30 now. So this is a real consistent podcast that you can listen to and talk to us about stuff. And if you want us to talk about anything in particular, tweet us. We're all on Twitter. We're all there. We'll write it down and put it in a Google Doc. We would love some fan interaction. So talk to at Drew Munhausen or at RockFact or at Casualty CDG and let's get involved. Thanks for all your support and thanks for listening.
Yeah, hit us up on Twitter with the hashtag Fuck Zack Snyder. And have yourself a good.
Don't do that. You will invoke the wrath of the internet.
I invoke the internet's wrath upon me. All right, I'll see you guys on the other side.
Fresh out the box. Fresh out the box. Fresh out the box. Fresh out the box.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Fresh Out the Podcast. I am the board game guru and game master extraordinaire, Johanan.
Retired child crimes and human trafficking detective turned tabletop titan and improv comedian. I'm Casualty CDG, and I'm happy to be here today because it's my first day out of a prison in which I have been buried in for 150 years.
Is that like a reference to something, or is that just
Yeah, his long imprisonment.
is your new gimmick?
I'm not sure what you mean by new gimmick, but I've been buried in an ancient tomb, finally worked my way through the dungeon, and climbed for over a week. I climbed straight up a vertical shaft of nothing but solid darkness, infested with monsters. And now I'm here doing the one thing I was meant to do, the one thing I was destined to do, record this podcast.
Yeah, welcome to the podcast for the first time ever. Former prisoner Gary Avenue.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
I like this bit a lot. I'm the professional media and movie mastermind, the Funhouse, Drew Munhausen, and welcome to episode 29, Fresh Out the Podcast.
Hey, thanks. I'm glad to be here. Happy to be here. Thanks for welcoming me to the episode.
I am excited. Y'all probably aren't as excited.
You know,
I'm
probably
excited.
less, but you know, Drew, as long as you're happy and you're giving, see, you add a prestige to the show, a credibility, if you will.
You know, y'all have
Yeah.
been kind enough week to week
Without
to let
you,
me.
we're just two assholes talking
We're
about
just two
Marvel.
assholes talking about nothing. When
Just
it comes,
Marvel.
yeah,
Only Marvel.
Yeah, we
We're
just- yeah.
two assholes talking about Marvel and Disney.
they call us
and
the marvelous assholes.
And
It's a good
most of the
name.
people that like Marvel and like all the mainstream movies are like, you know, screw all those Oscar bait movies and yada, that's all crap. And that's the stuff I'm like, gimme. And I'm so thankful for both of you. You know, you each let me do my little Oscar minute that I do typically from week to week. I skipped it last week because I knew that this week y'all were basically handing me the reins to the main event to really talk award season and where we're at with everything. Because guys, it's heating up. This is exciting times. Do you feel it?
I do. I feel it right here.
I'm actually looking at the SAG nominations right
too.
now because I didn't know if I was going to care about this, and I figured for the most part that I wouldn't. But I am excited to see some of the comedy series stuff in the middle and the television series stuff. So there is some stuff I know about on this list. So I'm more excited now.
I can kind of break it down for y'all because for those who don't follow the awards race like I do, you know, it's interesting. In the past, the first step of award season is typically the Golden Globes. Is usually kind of the first big one. And I don't know if y'all know, kind of the drama that's been going on with the Golden Globes, but I don't know if you noticed the Golden Globes did not air this year. They did not air on TV. They were not televised. The results were tweeted out. And the reasoning for this comes, and it's been kind of building for the past couple of years, that the Golden Globe organization, the Hollywood Foreign Press Association, who puts on the Golden Globes, they've basically, they're very particular about their membership, and they've come under fire because I don't think there was hardly any diversity in their membership. It was a lot of older white voters, and they are just a small exclusive group that love to rub elbows with all the celebrities and stars. And the Golden Globes have always been a part of the awards circuit, and again, it's kind of like the big party, right? It's where the celebrities would be, and they'd be drinking at their tables, and it was always kind of the party, whereas the Oscars are more the prestige show. But after enough evidence and articles came out really breaking down how membership of the Hollywood Foreign Press Association works and the lack of diversity, some celebrities, including Tom Cruise, basically said, "I'm giving back my Golden Globes. Like, I don't want this award anymore," and relinquished them. And then NBC took a huge step and said, until they do something about their organization and take the proper steps, we will not be airing the Golden Globes this year.
Good for them. Excellent.
And so, so the HF, the Hollywood Foreign Press Association, the HFPA, did eventually kind of create an outline for what they were doing to change things, but this was, kind of months after the initial incidents and reports were coming out. So by this time, it was almost a little too late for what they were planning to do and how they're planning to change. So it was kind of a big question mark for what they were going to do this year. And finally it was announced they weren't going to live stream it. They weren't going to do any of that. They literally came out with the nominations, and then they tweeted the awards, the winners.
Interesting.
So the Golden Globes kind of came and went, with about as much impact as a wet fart. Nobody really cared at all. There's been no impact. So instead, there's been a lot of focus on the different Critics' Choice Awards. A lot of the different cities, like the New York Critics Circle and the LA Critics, and they do all their own awards typically. So this year is interesting because the SAG Awards are kind of the first big step in the awards race, which they always are, but they just don't usually get the same level of attention as like the Golden Globes did. And the SAG Awards are the Screen Actors Guild Awards. So this is, voted on by the actors. This is, the acting body. There's producers guilds and there's directors guilds, and they do their own awards, but the SAG Awards usually give you a pretty good indication for who will be nominated at the Oscars. Like the Golden Globes usually get a first taste and it gives momentum, and then the SAGs, and then the Oscars. I think in the past, typically like the Best Actor race, a lot of times 4 out of 5 of the ones nominated for the SAG Award for Best Actor get nominated for the Oscar.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's very typical. Now, when it comes to the Academy, there's so many more people that vote for the Oscars than vote for the SAGs. The actors are a much smaller percentage of the overall Academy. So the winner of the SAG Award does not always determine who will win the Oscar.
Gotcha.
But a lot of times it does line up, because as we know, the awards race is all about politics and campaigning, and just like anything else, it's not necessarily about who had the best performance or what the best movie was. I mean, be real. We've known that's the case for a long time. It's
so
more
weird,
about
man.
the campaign. I know. It's very odd.
Makes me uncomfortable, Drew.
So the SAG Awards do encompass movies and television. So I was going to run through a few things here. I'll talk about just real quick. They don't have a best picture at the SAGs like at the Oscars, they do a best ensemble. That's their best picture equivalent. So for the TV shows, for their ensemble comedy series, it's Ted Lasso is nominated, which is no surprise there, considering how it's basically swept Emmys, and it did well at the Golden Globes. Not that anybody really cared there. Only Murders in the Building is nominated, which Gary has talked about at length on the show. The Kaminsky
I don't think
Method.
that there's any chance that Only Murders beats out Ted Lasso, but I did like it.
Are you glad that it's there? Like, is it worthy of the nomination?
I mean, yeah, it was probably one of the better things I watched last year.
I need to watch it. I watched the first few, and then I just fell out.
It's not. I mean, I feel bad about this because like I liked it and I enjoyed it, but it's like French fries or a bag of chips, man. It's like once you start the show, you kind of can't stop. You're just kind of snacking on it, but it's not like there's probably a lot of empty calories in that show, to be honest.
Gotcha.
We've also got the Kaminsky Method, which is a Netflix show that has been kind of a staple in the awards races, but it's a show that I never really got into, with Michael Douglas. Hacks, which my wife really liked. I didn't watch it, but it's on HBO Max. And The Great, which is on Hulu. And then for
what is Hacks?
I honestly couldn't tell you what it's about. I know that it stars Jean Smart and that she's won a bunch of awards for it, and that apparently it's pretty funny. I
like comedies. Well, I also don't know what The Great is, but it sounds familiar.
The Great is... I've actually watched the first episode of The Great, and it actually is good, but I never watched beyond that. It has... oh gosh, what's the younger of the two blonde sister actors?
Elizabeth Olsen.
No, Fanning. Elle Fanning.
Okay.
There it is. Not right. Dakota Fanning, the younger one. Elle Fanning. Gosh, that was once again good podcasting here, guys. We're doing good.
We here at Fresh Out the Podcast always do our research before we start streaming.
The Great is one of those kind of period set shows, but has a lot of kind of raw humor or like edgy humor, but set in like a British period tone, if that makes sense.
I always thought there should be more shows about periods. Hacks. I looked up Hacks. I looked up Hacks. Explores a dark mentorship that forms between Deborah Vance, a legendary Las Vegas comedian, and an entitled outcast of 25 years old.
Y'all caught me off guard because I was planning to just run through some of these shows, and I wasn't expecting y'all to push back on what actually is it. So I was not ready for it.
I like comedies, and these could potentially be award-winning.
I'm actually surprised at how many of these things I've seen. Like in ensemble drama series, The Handmaid's Tale and Squid Games. I liked both a lot. And then my dad watches the shit out of Yellowstone. So.
And Succession is super popular on HBO as well, which is probably a front runner there. And then The Morning Show, which is the Apple TV Plus show that stars Jennifer Aniston and Reese Witherspoon.
Interesting.
So those are some of the shows. I'm not going to go through all the acting categories, but of course, it's a lot of the people from those shows that are nominated for Best Ensemble, that are nominated for the individual acting awards. Now, talking about the big category acting awards, I think the biggest thing here, talking about outstanding performance by a cast in a motion picture, there's some surprises here. Belfast is nominated. That's not a surprise. That's the Kenneth Branagh directed movie about Belfast, about Ireland. And Coda, which I went on record as being my favorite movie of last year when we did our top fives. I loved Coda, so I'm so happy to see it here. Don't Look Up, the Netflix satire film by Adam McKay, starring Leonardo DiCaprio and Jennifer Lawrence, which I believe you both have watched, so we'll probably talk about it here in detail in a little bit.
Yeah.
King Richard, which is the Will Smith led biopic about the father of Venus and Serena Williams, that I did rave about it a few weeks ago. I really liked this film. And then House of Gucci, the Ridley Scott movie about the Gucci's starring Lady Gaga and Adam Driver, which I thought was fine. I'm surprised to see it here in the best ensemble or the outstanding cast award, mainly because The Power of the Dog, which was also on my top 5, that's had a lot more steam in the award race, did not get recognized here, which is shocking because Benedict Cumberbatch is nominated for Outstanding Performance by a Male Actor. Cody Smith-McPhee is nominated for Supporting, and Kirsten Dunst for Supporting Female Actor. Mm-hmm. So they're getting all these acting awards, but then yet not recognized in their Outstanding Performance by a Cast. So I would have personally put that in over House of Gucci for sure, but it wouldn't be an awards race without there being some surprises.
You're right, Drew. And looking back at that with my magnifying glass a second time, no one from House of Gucci, none of the females in a supporting role. There's nobody, and then there's no outstanding performance by a male actor in a leading role. There's nobody in that category. So there's literally 2 categories they didn't place in where Power of the Dog did. In those categories, and instead they're on the list. That's pretty suspect.
Well, and then going to the outstanding performance by a female actor in a leading role. So a lot of these I've talked about. Jessica Chastain's nominated for The Eyes of Tammy Faye. Nicole Kidman's nominated for Being the Ricardos. Now those 2 going into it were kind of locks. Like I would have been shocked. But one person that I would have considered to be an absolute lock for this category did not make it in. And that's Kristen Stewart for Spencer, where she plays Princess Diana, who's been an award season favorite so far. It seemed like she's been a lock all season, and she did not get recognized here, which is really interesting. Jennifer Hudson got nominated for her role playing Aretha Franklin in the Respect movie, which really didn't get good reviews from her performance got reviewed well. That movie didn't get reviewed well. It had kind of been forgotten in the awards race. And so the fact that she made it in here over Kristen Stewart is surprising. Lady Gaga is a little less surprising because she's kind of had a little bit of steam in the race. But, talking about that movie and Gary mentioning where people weren't nominated, to me, Adam Driver had the best performance in House of Gucci, and yet he's not nominated here. But Jared Leto is nominated for supporting actor.
Jared Leto.
Oh, yeah.
Ew.
Male actor in a leading role? This is less surprising. Benedict Cumberbatch, Andrew Garfield, Will Smith, Denzel Washington. I mean,
Javier Bardem. Those are all household names.
Javier Bardem is probably, if you had to pick one to be the surprising one of the bunch, I'm surprised that he made it in here. Again,
one that doesn't belong.
I've already been on record as not really liking Being the Ricardos very much.
Yeah, you did say that.
So, but I guess I'm not overly surprised he's here. What was that?
Yeah, who would you replace him with?
Yeah, what outstanding performance by a male actor would you have slid in for this slot?
It's a good question. I'm trying to think off the top of my head who I could tell you first off who I thought would be there, which is Peter Dinklage for Cyrano, which is coming out soon. A musical. He had gotten a lot of steam. It seemed like he was going to be there. He didn't. I would have put Leonardo DiCaprio in, even. I liked Leo in Don't Look Up more than I liked Javier Bardem in Being the Ricardos. And that's coming from somebody who, I was pretty lukewarm on Don't Look Up in general. So that's saying something.
Same.
I liked it.
Heck, I would have loved if Nicolas Cage could have slid in here in the 5th spot, for Pig.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
I'd rather
With his
see
outstanding performance. Yeah.
What about anybody from Belfast or Coda?
So, Belfast, the surprises there come more in the supporting role category.
Okay. I'm just looking at the big pictures, looking like, where are these people? These people aren't on the list. I'm just curious.
Yeah, so if you look at supporting role, Cody Smith-McPhee for Power of the Dog, probably a lock for being nominated for an Oscar as well. Troy Kotsur from Coda, he plays the father in Coda, and he's wonderful in it. He seems to probably be a lock because he's gotten some steam. The surprises here come with the combination of the other three. So Jared Leto for House of Gucci, Bradley Cooper for Licorice Pizza, Ben Affleck for The Tinder Bar. Bradley Cooper has maybe 5 minutes of screen time in Licorice Pizza. He is good in it and interesting. I don't know if I would nominate it here.
You almost can't even call that a supporting role so much as a cameo.
Yeah, and it really kind of is a glorified cameo in the movie. I mean, he's featured in the trailers and such, but he doesn't even show up until maybe an hour and a half into the movie. And yeah, and it's a short role or small part. Kieran Hines, who plays the grandfather in Belfast, had seemed to be an early favorite for the Oscar and then was not even nominated here at the SAG. So that was surprising. As well as Jamie Dornan, who's also in Belfast, who I would have thought at least one of the two would get nominated, and yet neither one's here. So that's pretty shocking. The Tinder Bar, Ben Affleck being nominated there, for me is actually a pleasant surprise. I watched this recently, so I'll talk about it more in the what we've watched stuff. But I'm a big Ben Affleck fan, to be honest. Like, something about him I find to be just super intriguing. I think his movie star persona outside of movies, and then also his roles as an actor, I just find him to be very interesting. So I'm always intrigued by him.
I'm very hit or miss with Ben Affleck.
That's fair.
Ben Affleck.
Totally
I've liked Ben Affleck since Mallrats when I was growing up.
Yeah, that was some of his best stuff. Yeah.
Oh man, well, almost put me on another tangent, but I'll get to it. The only other acting category that we hadn't touched on here is female actor in a supporting role, which the mother in Belfast, played by, I'm probably going to say her name incorrectly. I think it's almost spelled Katrina, although it has a different spelling. Katrina Balfe. She is nominated here. She's wonderful in Belfast. Again, I went on record as not being like a huge fan of that movie overall, but I thought she was really great. It had some good performances. Cate Blanchett for Nightmare Alley, sure. I mean, Cate Blanchett's always good, and she was fine in that. Ariana DeBose for West Side Story. She's wonderful and lovely in West Side Story, so I'm happy to see her. She plays Anita, which famously Rita Moreno, who played Anita in the old film of West Side Story, won the Oscar for that role. So Ariana DeBose has big shoes to fill there, but she is getting nominated here. It seems like she'll probably get some Oscar love as far as at least a nomination goes, but that's definitely a role that has gained acclaim in the past. Kirsten Dunst for The Power of the Dog, she's great, and Ruth Negga for Passing, which I was happy to see her nominated here. If y'all remember, I did talk about Passing a few weeks ago. I kind of thought it was going to get overlooked in the awards race and wasn't going to really be a factor. But she is nominated here, so I was happy to see that.
This list of female supporting actors seems a lot better than the list of male supporting actors.
I would agree
quality...
that supporting is a stronger overall. Supporting female is a much stronger category this year.
Yeah.
A much more competitive category.
That's it. That's what I'm trying to say. There's a lot of great performances on there and a lot of great movies on there, and those are some really good names. So that's supporting males not so much. Whenever Mobius is on your list for supporting male actors, you might want to take a second look.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest Jared Leto fan, but man, the awards voting groups seem to always like him. He snuck into the SAGs last year, too, for that movie. Oh, gosh, I can't think of what it's called, but he was like a suspect as being a serial killer. The Little Things. It was a Denzel Washington movie.
I actually liked that movie.
I thought it was fine. And Jared Leto was decent in it. I didn't think he was awards worthy, but yet he got like Golden Globe and SAG nominations for it. And so they just seemed to like Jared Leto.
That was one of my more favorite of his roles. I don't like him. I hate the guy. I actually could stand him in that. I thought that was a good role for him because he was a piece of shit, and you know.
He is very. I'm not going to say that he's good in House of Gucci, but boy, is he going for it, as he tends to do.
I'm actually, House of Gucci's on my list. I'm going to watch it. I'll report back. I'm definitely going to watch it.
Yeah, the only two times I've liked Jared Leto were in that movie you're just talking about with the serial killer, and then Blade Runner. I liked him in Blade Runner.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, that's kind of the overall where we're at. The big thing here for a lot of the folks like me that are big Oscar fans or big fans of the award race is that this year, I think that there's some good movies that are being recognized here, but very little mainstream films, and which has always been kind of a trend in the Oscars. They like to award a lot of biopics and smaller films, sometimes indie films. But, the fact of the matter is the viewership on the Oscars is dropping year to year. And it used to be this Super Bowl level event that, it was on and everybody watched it. And that's just not the case anymore. And they've tried to figure out things and figure out who a good host would be or whatever. Last year they had no host, and that didn't really seem to work. This year they've said they're going to have a host, but they haven't announced who it is. I listened to emergency podcasts from other groups about like what can they do to save the Oscars this year, and they're literally at this point saying like just nominate Spider-Man No Way Home for Best Picture, like just put it in there because it's the most popular movie of the year. Like put something like that in there. That this happened years and years ago. I say years and years, like back in 2008, 2009. That used to always be there are 5 Best Picture nominees at the Oscars. After The Dark Knight was not nominated for Best Picture, that was considered a huge misstep for the Academy not to recognize it. Of course, we know Heath Ledger won the Oscar for supporting role, but The Dark Knight was not nominated for Best Picture.
Which is crazy.
So they changed their rules the next year, and they expanded the Best Picture nominee set to be 10 nominees for Best Picture. This has allowed a lot of other more mainstream movies to get nominated for Best Picture. Like Toy Story 3 was nominated right after they expanded it. I think Up got nominated for Best Picture. So, animated films have made it a few more widely watched movies. Then they changed the rule again, and they said it can be up to 10 nominees depending on the percent of nomination votes a film gets. So it was inconsistent. 1 year there might be 7 or 8 nominees for Best Picture. 1 year there might be 9 or 10. It was inconsistent. This year they're back to 10. They're just doing 10 nominees. Of mainstream movies that could be nominated or will be nominated, it's looking like Dune will probably get a Best Picture nomination, which seems to be the most mainstream of the movies that could be in the pool. But Dune didn't make Spider-Man money.
No,
it's been considered successful, but
I've got a point to that as well. I don't think any of us would ever say that Spider-Man deserves to win Best Film of 2021. I think we can at least all agree
probably
on
not.
that.
I wouldn't say that.
But I would make an argument that Andrew Garfield should be on the list of Best Supporting Male Actors.
I would agree with that. He was very, very good.
He also wouldn't win, but he had a great performance in that. He was good.
He is on here for Tick Tick Boom for leading.
He's had a really great year as an actor too. I mean, Tick Tick Boom. Andrew Garfield. He's one of those guys who, outside of The Social Network and Spider-Man and playing Spider-Man, a lot of times the movies he's in, the movies are okay, but he's very good in them. I felt that way about Tick Tick Boom. I felt that way about The Eyes of Tammy Faye, which he's more supporting role in that. But he's great. He's so good. I think he's such a good and interesting actor. Again, I'm on the record saying that I thought he was a highlight for me for No Way Home. I thought he really kind of stole the show.
He's really good. Yeah.
I'm with you. Like, give all the love to Andrew Garfield where we can.
Yep. I mean, I don't think it would hurt their viewing rate to put him on the list of best supporting actor. I mean, there's no one on that Academy board is going to put that movie on the best movie block. And I think that's totally fair. But you're right. Everyone saw that movie, and there's a reason everyone liked it. There's a reason that it made a bazillion dollars. So they should be on here I'm sure they'll win or be nominated for something, right? Like best CGI or best score or some crap like that. But as far as the screen actors go, I think that, I liked Andrew Garfield as a supporting actor in Spider-Man.
Well, the stunt ensemble action performance stuff, I've seen all of those because they play more to my palate. And Shang-Chi's there, so they got nominated for a SAG award for something at least.
Yeah, and SAG has done some progressive stuff. They nominate stunt ensembles and things like that, which a lot of people have been lobbying for years now to give like a best stunt award or award the stunt teams at the Oscars.
I've always been on team award the fucking stunt people.
Leighton's talked about that a few times.
Good luck making a movie without a stuntman. Like, your actor is not going to do that, and without that, it's not a performance anyone's going to watch. If you watch a movie with all of the stunts taken out, it's just very, very boring. They make viewers, they pay attention. It's vital. They should almost get paid what the stars get paid. But what do I know?
Yeah.
Yep. So, I mean, that's really all that I have to say about the awards race now. There's just a lot of fans of the awards race in general that are scared that the Oscars are dying, essentially. Like, there's just not the same level of public interest, which, I hear it. I see that too. I get into it, and I have friends that make fun of me for how into it I get, which I'd laugh it off. It's fine. So that's, this has been fresh out the box office, fresh out the Oscar race for this week.
Fresh out of Oscars. We ain't got any.
We should be getting the Oscar nomination voting will be happening soon. So the Oscars aren't until late March. So we've got time. I would imagine that we won't see nominations until mid-February or so. So we're just getting ahead a little bit. But yeah. So that's basically it.
Yeah,
that was good. You did a good job.
You did a very good job. You sound so official.
This is something that I'm strangely passionate about. So I appreciate y'all letting me have the the soapbox to speak about it.
Speaking of strangely passionate, I want you to tell me about Kingsman. I love the Kingsman series, and I wanted to see Kingsman, but I haven't, and it kind of slipped out in between the cracks because it came out like right when Spider-Man did. Yeah. That's not what you want to do.
Are we going to switch to our fresh takes now?
Yeah, this will be our fresh takes for the week.
Fresh takes.
What we've been watching, what we've been reading, what we've been playing, whatever. And yeah, I'll talk about The Kingsman. I did go see this in a super not packed theater. I think there were like 4 other people in there with me. It came out the week of Christmas, but I just got around to it kind of late. And I'm with you, Gary. I liked especially the first Kingsman movie. I really like Taron Egerton and Colin Firth. And that movie I didn't know what to expect going into it. It surprised me overall. I enjoyed it. The second one probably less so, but I still like the overall silliness of the franchise. So I went into The Kingsman ready for that. This is a prequel. And boy, did I find it to be boring.
Oh, man.
No!
Yeah, I was not a huge fan. There are some cool action sequences. I mean, the director, Matthew Vaughn, I mean, he knows how to shoot an action sequence and do a lot of revolve shots and just like really cool shots like you've seen in the previous movies that they do show up here.
Yeah.
There's some cool stuff, but a lot of the in-between, it's almost like he wanted to make a World War I movie and then try to coat some Kingsman stuff into it, is really how it comes across.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like some cool action scenes, but the in-between, too few and far between. And it just kind of has this overall bland look to it of just a lot. Maybe it's because the war setting, but a lot of brown and tan and everything. Like it wasn't pretty to look at. I don't know. I struggled sitting through it, and I didn't think the trailers looked particularly good, but I thought, I bet it's going to be funny and it's going to be silly and it's going to have some crazy, surprising gore or something, because they tend to put that stuff in there. And it just lacked all the things that I typically like to see in those Kingsman movies.
Yeah, I love
kind of the whole thing with the Kingsman is that it's dialed up to it always seems like it's just going to be a spy movie, and then all of a sudden it's dialed up to Saints Row, silly stupidity.
It does get there. Yeah.
And it's happened. It was in 1, and again, it was in 2. It was ridiculous, right? It's a diner where they feed people to pigs, and then the bad guy had like claw, or no, in that movie it was a electric whip. In the first one, it was claw hands. So they're great. Like, it's a
John
real shame.
Was there. Yeah.
It's a real shame that they dropped the proverbial ball on this one.
Yeah, I was disappointed.
That is a shame. Yeah, Kingsman, I love the first one. Second one was pretty fucking silly, but it was entertaining, I'll tell you that much. But I was hoping this one was going to be good. Really was. But hey.
Yeah, and, we'll see. I don't know if they'll make more. If they do make more, they kind of... Not to spoil anything, I won't get into the plot, but the Kingsman sets it up where they could basically almost create a sequel to the prequel, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
like you got the main line, but then you've got the series that takes place in the past. Like they could continue that, and I just don't care to see more of that after this. I would much rather see another Kingsman movie with Taron Egerton and the more modern spy stuff. So I'd be much more excited to see that. I'll put it that way.
I think it lends itself to maybe in the future, maybe 20, 30 years from now, we'll have like Kingsman set in the 80s that are, really funny, over the top 80s themed stuff with the cars and the look and the blazers. But, hopefully this isn't the Kingsman going out in a small burning fire that nobody watched. Hopefully this is just a misstep and they keep going.
Well, and worth noting, the Kingsman franchise was under the Fox banner, and so they, one of the franchises that got acquired by Disney in that acquisition. So this was released by 20th Century Studios, is what they call it now.
This is probably it then.
And so, yeah, I don't know. It kind of seemed like they were just looking for when to dump this. It's one that got delayed a lot due to the pandemic. It finally came out around Christmas. It seemed like to little fanfare. I don't know I haven't checked how much money it's making. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see how it does. Now I can talk about some other movies.
I'm all ears, man. Give me that movie talk.
Well, you just talked a couple weeks ago. You had watched Moonrise Kingdom, and we did a little bit about Wes Anderson, and I finally got around to watching his newest film, The French Dispatch.
Is that watchable in places for people?
So I own it. I bought it on Blu-ray. So I don't think it's streaming yet, okay. But I can always lend it to you, and you can watch it.
The Blu-ray is out.
It is, and it's fine. It's good if you like Wes Anderson style and visuals. There's plenty of that here. I'd say plot wise, it's probably lesser Wes Anderson, but even a lesser Wes Anderson movie is still going to be more fun to watch than a lot of other movies. If that makes sense. It is about a publication. It's I'm trying to figure out the best way to describe it. An American paper, but it's their French version or publication of it. And so the movie is basically like an anthology. It's a bunch of short stories within. It's taking that day's paper and showing you the stories within the paper. So it cuts between a few, or it goes from one story to the next. So there's a huge cast in it. A lot of actors that show up. I don't have the list here. A lot of, the Wes Anderson staples. You get Bill Murray's in it and Edward Norton and folks like that. But then you also have people like Benicio del Toro and Saoirse Ronan and Timothée Chalamet and oh gosh, who else is in it? I can't even I don't have the list in front of me.
A lot of people.
Yeah. A lot of people in it. So it's one of those that's fun to watch just to see all the people that continuously pop up throughout. Owen Wilson, of course.
Sounds like
Bitch.
That sounds like fun. It just sounds like a fun, those anthology types of things can be a whole lot of fun.
I also like Wes Anderson, and I'll give it a watch. The French Dispatch is on my list.
It almost sounds like Florida Man, except by Wes Anderson.
Yeah. So it is, I would say overall, even though I say it's lesser Wes Anderson, I'd still rate it fresh out the box.
Oh, okay, good.
I'd say.
Good. I'm glad to hear that.
But it's not like a emphatic fresh out the box. But I'm like, yeah, it's fresh. It's fresh out the box.
Fresh. All right. Still green.
Another movie that I watched is called Red Rocket, and yeah.
Is it about a dog's penis?
No.
That was my question.
Yep.
No, and this is another one I know I've been talking a lot, but this is one that I feel like I have to give some background to as well. This is directed by a guy named Sean Baker, and he is kind of known to do like very intimate storytelling with a lot of non-actors.
So what you're telling me is that it is about a dog's penis.
No, it is definitely not.
He does intimate storytelling with non-actors.
By non-actors, you mean dog? Yeah, okay.
I see
dogs.
how you made the leap.
Mm-hmm.
No, he's done a couple. He did a movie called Tangerine, but he kind of rose to more fame a couple of years ago. He did a movie called The Florida Project, which won Willem Dafoe an Oscar. Willem Dafoe won Best Supporting Actor for appearing in The Florida Project, which was a movie about a Orlando hotel. Basically, in Orlando, near Disney World. Disney World has taken over Orlando, right? Disney pretty much owns Orlando, and they have all of their resorts, Disney-branded resorts. But there are a ton of small, crummy hotels along the interstate that lead into Disney World that have a lot of families and folks that live out of them, or a lot of sketchy or interesting characters that reside at those. And in that movie, Willem Dafoe basically plays the he's like the manager or caretaker of like one of those crummy hotels, and it just takes place there and shows the people there. So it's pretty interesting. This movie,
Red Rocket,
stars Simon Rex, who is most known for he's in like a lot of the scary movie franchise. I believe
familiar.
he was an MTV DJ or VJ at some point, I think, and he has like a comedy rap alter ego as well. So he's not the most mainstream guy these days, but he is kind of incredible in this movie. And it's about a ex porn star. So he's an adult film actor who leaves LA and returns home to Texas City. So a lot of it's filmed, in the Bay Area near us. And it looks like I haven't done my research, but it looks like they filmed on location, around here. And It's just about this guy who's like practically a con artist. You know, he takes advantage of people where he can, uses people, and I don't want to say too much else about the plot, but I mean, there's some graphic stuff in this.
Oh no, it does say that it was filmed in Texas City, Galveston, and Port Arthur. So
there you go.
No.
There you go. I mean, there's as you know, fitting for a movie that's about an ex-male, porn actor. There's plenty of peen in this movie that you can see. So they're just straight up.
I would expect nothing less from a movie called Red Rocket.
Possibly the best use of NSYNC's "Bye Bye Bye" that I've ever seen in anything. So that's worth noting.
Very interesting note.
That was a weird segue, Drew. I'm going to ask you a straightforward question. Does someone get their penis cut off and then bye 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 plays?
No.
Okay.
Can confirm that does not happen.
All right. That's all.
It plays as kind of a comedy, mostly a comedy. It's actually pretty hilarious, but also just like it just plays incredibly real. And again, he uses a lot. When I say he uses a lot of non-actors, like probably people that actually reside there that he put in the movie and gave them acting roles. So it makes them, even though they might not be the best actors, they're very authentic.
I looked them up. None of them have like profile pictures.
Yeah,
like
authentic people. They aren't actors, but you really only need the actor to be the main character or the supporting character, and you should really have authentic people around besides that. That's sort of what real life is like when you go out anyways. Not everybody is this deep, charismatic person who wants to open themselves up.
It's always kind of weird to see that. Yeah.
Yeah. Some people are just kind of fucking weird and doing their own weird shit, and that's exactly fine. That's totally fine.
It's one of those things where, you know, the best actor race at the awards this year is very competitive as well. And in a year that maybe that was a weaker category, there'd be a strong case for Simon Rex to get a push for a nomination here. Like he's that good in it.
Really funny.
And this movie is technically a 2021 movie, but this is the first chance I've really had to see it. I saw it at Alamo Drafthouse at a 10:35 p.m. showing, which that's like way past my bedtime, that's the only time it was showing. And boy, that's like, if you're going to see this movie, this is like a movie to watch at 10:30 at night. You know what I mean? Like just, but honestly, if I had seen this last year, if I had seen this before we did our top 5 lists, like this probably would have been on my top 5 for last
Interesting.
year.
Okay.
As of right now, it's only in select theaters, but I believe it'll be on demand to rent like February 8th or something like that. But
I remember this guy now. I remember him from Scary Movie. He was doing the 9 Mile thing. Yeah.
Yep, that's him.
Spaghetti. I recall. Yeah, that's funny that you would say that he could possibly have been a contender for Best Actor now. He's come a long way, I guess.
Yeah. I would have never thought he could have been a contender for Best Actor back during Scary Movie 3.
But you know, it's one of those things, it's all about the role. And him playing a adult film actor con man, you know, it worked for him. He did that. I'll be really interested to see if this gets him some more work moving forward and he starts popping up in some other things, because he was good. And then I'll do I know I did the huge awards season talk already, but I just wanted to add some of those movies that were mentioned in the awards that I have seen now that I haven't yet talked about. I watched The Lost Daughter, which is a Netflix movie starring Olivia Colman, and this has been very popular amongst the critics, so I was kind of expecting to love it, and I liked it, but it didn't impact me the way that I thought it might. It basically explores what if somebody was a what if there was a woman who was a reluctant mother? Like, there are so many women that they have a child and they love their child and they love being a mom, but what if you have a child and you don't like being a mom? It kind of explores more of that side. So it can be kind of dark at times. But Olivia Colman's a wonderful actress and she's fantastic in this, even if I wasn't too high on the movie. Also worth noting, written and directed by Maggie Gyllenhaal. So
Interesting.
yeah, so she's not in it. She's not in it. She just was behind the scenes, which I thought was pretty interesting. So that's The Lost Daughter. And then I also watched Licorice Pizza, which is the new Paul Thomas Anderson movie that stars Alana Haim and Cooper Hoffman, who Cooper Hoffman is the son of the late Philip Seymour Hoffman. He has the lead role in this. This is the movie that I noted Bradley Cooper got that award nomination for when he's only in it for, a few minutes. But this takes place in LA in the 70s, and it's basically like a budding romance and friendship between a 15-year-old boy and a girl in her early 20s. And it's very interesting, as all Paul Thomas Anderson movies are. It's one of those movies that has like a loosely connected plot. It's more like a series of events rather than a direct storyline.
Yeah.
Man, I can watch Paul Thomas Anderson movies all day. If you don't know who Paul Thomas Anderson is, please enroll yourself in a film history class. He is known.
He told us to go to school.
He did. He told us to get the hell out of his face and shut up.
Paul Thomas Anderson did Boogie Nights and There Will Be Blood and The Master and most recently Phantom Thread. So anyway, and a lot of other stuff. And he's wonderful. So anyway, so that's Licorice Pizza overall. I definitely really liked it a lot. And then lastly, The Tender Bar, which is streaming on Amazon Prime Video. It is directed by George Clooney, and it stars Ben Affleck in a supporting role. It is basically a coming-of-age movie about a young boy, and the boy in his older years is played by Ty Sheridan, who was the lead in Ready Player One. That's Ty Sheridan. And Ben Affleck basically plays his super dope, cool uncle that kind of acts as like a father figure to him, who works as a bartender in their small town, and he's awesome. And I wish that he was my cool uncle after seeing this movie. Ben Affleck's very good in it. It's worth watching just for him. But that's also my review of the movie, is like, just make this movie all the scenes with Ben Affleck and it'd be like a 5 out of 5. But otherwise, it's like a solid 3 out of 5.
Oh, damn. I might watch it. I like Ben Affleck.
It's a feel good, I like coming of age movies in general. It's,
It's very hit or miss category for me.
a boy with the, deadbeat dad his dad's not part of the picture. His mom's struggling to make ends meet. They move back in with his grandparents. His mom's parents. His uncle lives with them as well. So it's a lot of family, but the boy is very smart and has a good future ahead of him. So it dives into that. The grandfather is played by Christopher Lloyd.
What's up?
Yeah. So I love Christopher Lloyd, and you don't see him as often now in new movies. So he was great to see here too. Yeah. I'm always happy to see Doc Brown himself.
Uncle Fester, you mean Uncle Fester?
Either way, I guess. I wouldn't mind either way.
Why can't I think of his name in Who Framed Roger Rabbit? He's the villain.
Yeah, he's the villain. Yeah.
I can't think of his name. He's got a funny name.
I bet you Jenny would know. That's like her favorite movie. But yeah. Christopher Lloyd.
Judge Doom. That's it.
Judge Doom.
That's a really good name.
It's a good name.
So that's it for Drew's Oscar Minute, but there's some previous Drew's Oscar Minute films that you have now seen, or at least one in particular, and I would love to hear what y'all thought of Don't Look Up.
Okay.
The satire. It's on Netflix, directed by Adam McKay of Anchorman and Step Brothers fame. More recently, he did Vice and The Big Short. What did y'all think of Don't Look Up? I'm genuinely curious to hear.
You can go ahead, Gary.
It was way too long. It was kind of funny, and Jonah Hill is my favorite part, as usual. Man, Jonah Hill can just sure play a hateable little fucker. And he is just a hateable little asshole in this. He's very funny. All of the bits are funny. All the cameos are funny, but it just goes on and on and on. And you pretty much get it, like, 30 minutes into the movie. Like, yeah, I get it. And then it just keeps on doing it. And, okay. I would not say that this is certified fresh out the box.
So I liked it. I liked it a lot. I thought it was very much my kind of humor. I was laughing a lot the whole time. I don't know. I could understand. Like, I'm not going to be like, oh, you're wrong. Like, I get it. I thought it was very my humor. I laughed a lot. I laughed the whole time. I didn't feel like it was too long. It kind of went by quickly for me, I guess, because I was enjoying it more. I loved some of the parodies with the president and Jonah Hill, and that shit was really funny. And then the end, like the post. Did you guys watch the post-credit scene? It had one.
I don't know if I watched the post-credits scene.
It's really funny. I was laughing pretty hard at that. Just, I don't know. I liked it. It felt topical. It felt like, I mean, we've watched it all happen all around us this whole time for the past few years. And like, I didn't feel, it didn't get to me. It wasn't like too real for me. I felt like, I was like, good. I'm glad that you're making fun of this because it's been affecting my life for way too long now. And it just, it felt a little cathartic for me, honestly. I think I needed this in some way. But I liked it. I did like this movie.
Yeah, I fell more in the camp with Gary, I'd say. But to your point, Jahan, I'm the same. Like, I could understand somebody watching this and thinking it's hilarious and loving it, and I can see, I guess, kind of why it's in the general conversation for awards, but I probably just enjoyed it a little less. There were parts I thought were funny. I was overall kind of entertained, especially for maybe the first third. Yeah. But then to like what Gary said, I just thought it went on too long, and by the end of it, I thought I was maybe saying being beat over the head with it is being a little bit too hyperbolic, but I was like, I get it.
So I was like you, like I was very entertained the whole time, but like the moments that were funny was me like ugly laughing and like bothering Jenny and my mom with how loud I was laughing. Like the moments that I thought were funny, I was dude, this was the movie. This was the one. Someone, I think it was Jonah Hill, called Jennifer Lawrence the boy with the dragon tattoo in this movie.
Oh yeah,
I was crying. That was so good. Funny. And then the parts with the general making them pay for the food was pretty fucking. I don't know, man. There's a lot in this movie that I liked. I would suggest people watch this movie.
Jonah Hill was for sure a highlight. I think that Mark Rylance is a fantastic actor. And he was in this. He was the one that played kind of like the Steve Jobs-esque character, and I just found him so grating in it.
Me
like,
too.
I get what he was doing, and I know he was playing it up like to be that way on purpose, and I just found it unbearable.
It was a little. I mean, it's
Hey, it's funny that you say he was kind of a Steve Jobs. I imagined him as a Mark Zuckerberg, and
he's definitely both.
Yes, maybe that's actually a better comparison. Honestly,
so he didn't make. I wasn't mad because Zuckerberg is such a cringy little piece of shit that I want to hate him. So I thought this character was definitely you wanted to hate him for sure.
He was upset.
They did a great job of making you want to hate him, and he was just the stand-in for every billionaire, corporate, privatized, fucking dickhead douchebag that we have. And the movie's super, super political. Don't Look Up is super political. So, you're signing up for that when you watch it. It's a political comedy for sure.
Which it seems like that's Adam McKay's thing now. You know, his last movie was Vice, which was about Dick Cheney, and it was the movie that got a bunch of attention because Christian Bale gained a bunch of weight for it and played Dick Cheney. You know,
I gain weight all the time. Where's my attention?
Yeah, so it just
Doing
seems
it
like
right now.
that's where Adam McKay is now, is doing like these kind of political comedies, highbrow comedies that are kind of prestige award movies, but kind of not. It's so strange.
I want to
Interesting
talk
to watch.
about a show that's really strange and interesting. And I think Jahan is going to like it, actually. I'm still not sure if I like it. The show is on HBO Max. It's called Raised by Wolves. And season 2 of Raised by Wolves is just about to come out. So I decided I'd go back and watch season 1 to see if this is one of those things where I'm going to watch all of season 1 and then all of season 2 to see if I'm going to like binge it like that.
Heard of this? Isn't it? I believe it's produced by Ridley Scott.
Yeah.
It is produced by Ridley Scott. That's
Yeah.
exactly right.
Yeah, Ridley Scott. I've heard
it.
of this. I've seen the previews. I'm actually super hyped. Tried to get watching with this, but every time I do, I'm with Jen, and it doesn't appeal to her, and she's like, eh. It's I'm gonna watch it on my own at some point for sure.
The premise is that, and it's a weird premise, like
It
right
is.
out the gates. It's
Very weird.
So in the far future, the atheists and the religious people have gone to war. And one of the things that they're warring about is the right to raise children, the right for cyborgs to raise children. And the atheists send 2 cyborgs off on a small light craft to this uninhabited planet at the edge of the galaxy. And the religious people are traveling in these big arcs to different planets to inhabit them. So the cyborgs are way ahead, and the cyborgs have human children and try to raise them. And that's the premise of the show, is the cyborgs are raising these human children that they're not supposed to be raising, and then an arc shows up.
Yeah.
And the show is shot beautifully. It reminds me of Dune, the way that it's shot. These huge set pieces, these beautiful backgrounds. One of the main characters is a cyborg, and she is terrifying. Her performance is passionate and intimidating all at the same time. And then one of the other main characters is a child. He's the last human child here. The last one to survive on this planet. And then the other male lead is Travis Fimmel, which is actually a guy that I know, and probably Jahan knows, and maybe even Drew. He was the lead in Vikings. He was Ragnar Lothbrok, and he was also, of course, in the Warcraft movie. And in Raised by Wolves. In Raised by Wolves, he's one of the humans that survives the Ark, and he's here on this planet and realizes that she's a cyborg and is trying to save the kid from her. So it's kind of a horror, action-y, sci-fi. I'm not sure it's the most exciting show, but I think that the type of psychological terror that's going on would really feed Jahan's tasty bucket full of psychological horror that he likes.
I have issues, but no. It's been something that's been on my list forever, and now that season 2's coming out, I'm probably going to give it a try. Sometimes I get like hesitant about starting a show when I'm not sure that it's going to have a season 2.
I think that you're going to like Raised by Wolves.
Too.
I really do.
I do too.
Like, I think maybe Kyle would like Raised by Wolves also.
Interesting.
I'm not sure everybody was going to like it, but it sort of reminds me of Westworld also.
Okay.
If I had to put it somewhere in my brain, it would go right in between Westworld and Dune.
Westworld's super dope, so yeah, I'll check this out. Another thing I'm gonna watch. I've been actually running out of things to watch, so I'm kind of excited for stuff to be popping up.
You cannot run out of stuff to watch with HBO right now.
HBO was recently by some people have been putting it up at the top streaming lately.
Well, and you know what's interesting is that, I've actually been thinking about that a lot this week because I've been watching so much stuff on HBO between Peacemaker and Station 11 and movies, and That Harry Potter reunion, like they did the Friends reunion, and they did the Harry Potter one. They're doing all kinds of stuff in addition to their
Yes.
series, and of course we had the great year in 2021 with them putting all their theatrical releases on there, which they're not doing again this year, but they're kind of splitting it. They have movies that will be coming to HBO Max and movies in theaters. We already talked last week. Batgirl will be an HBO Max movie. So it just seems like
It's very interesting.
even without having the theatrical releases on there this year, it's like they're still killing it with the content that's coming out.
Yeah, and they've been doing well for a long time. HBO has adapted to the streaming race so well, and I mean, they have all the DC stuff, all the animated stuff, and that content library alone is worth the subscription. And then they have all this other great stuff that you guys are talking about. I really like HBO Max a lot right now. But yeah, let's see. I think that brings us.
Sounds cool.
Yeah,
That's where we were at.
Yeah.
So let's see. What else have y'all been watching?
You want to take it, Gary?
I only have two more things I've been watching. Both of them were on Netflix.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
So one I liked and one I didn't like. So first, let me talk about what I didn't like. I watched The House, and I don't know if you guys look like you have no idea what the hell that is right now.
Didn't this just come out?
Yeah, the House. Just
this looks.
Is it like a horror movie kind of?
Yeah, so it's about in the trailer. It's like the first 15 seconds of the trailer. So don't worry, I'm not spoiling anything. In the trailer, they are approached by a strange man who wants to buy all of the property surrounding their house and build them a new house, and they have to live in the new house. And that's it. But they don't have to pay anything. That's it. That's the deal. And there's something awry the whole time. The first, it's split into 3 parts. So it probably really should have been a mini series. It's kind of listed as a movie. The first part of it, I did not like. And I made a Rotten Tomatoes account just to go and shit on this movie. And then the second part started. And I went back and I was like, okay, hold up. And I deleted my negative comment and I changed my review from a 2 to a 3. I think if it wasn't for the super cool art style, so now I mean it's the whole thing is kind of like Wallace and Gromity art style. It's a stop motion.
It looks really good.
It has some of the best stop motion art I've ever seen in my entire life. I grew up watching the Wallace and Gromit stuff and the Chicken Run and all that shit. This animation is out of control. And even though some of the dialogue sounds like Nick Jr. bullshit, like it's about to introduce fucking Blue's Clues or Little Bear, and some of the performances are flat. The voice acting can be really flat at times. And even the story, I was like, fuck, this is kind of stupid. But the animation is so cool, it just kept me in it. And then the second part started, and the second part was better than the first part. I haven't finished The House yet. I wouldn't say that it's certified fresh out the box, but if you are looking for a really cool stop motion thing to watch, this is some of the coolest modern stop motion animation I've ever seen. The flames are really cool. And in particular, I stopped and rewinded when the second part started because they did like a San Francisco street pan. And I thought that the vehicles were real. I thought they had mixed stop motion animation and real life animation. They did not. There were reflections coming off of the mirrors from like the lighting from above. So there were reflections on the sides of the cars. That was all hand animated from stop motion, physical stuff. So really, really great work. Beautiful art. I think it would be in the trash if someone brought this script as a live action option to somebody.
I love stop motion enough to check it out just to see.
Yeah, you guys should watch
the visuals of it, regardless of how good the plot and writing of it is.
Yeah, I don't know what stop motion I've seen that's better off the top of my head. It's the style is really fun too. The characters have like weird, creepy little faces.
They do. I saw the movie poster. I pulled it up. They look creepy.
Yeah, they've
No,
got
I'm
tiny
definitely
little
gonna watch
eyes,
that one. Yeah.
real close to their tiny little nose and a tiny little mouth. The last thing I'm watching on Netflix right now is Cobra Kai. I'm on like episode 8. I don't know how many there are. Probably 10 or 12. I'm probably right near the end now. I think I told you guys last time, it's like Degrassi, except with Kung Fu. Or not Kung Fu, with karate. Right when I think this show is going to do something new and cool, I'm like, oh, they're going to bring in MMA, or oh, they're going to bring in boxing. It's just more fucking karate, which is fine because it's a karate show and that's what I signed up for. But I keep expecting something new or fresh, and it's still just Cobra Kai, which I love. I like Cobra Kai. I'm on board. I'm going to keep watching this season. I think season 2, which was when it got canceled on YouTube, it came to like an abrupt end in season 2, and they had to do a whole lot of digging in season 3 to get themselves out of terrible writing. But now that they have done that digging and gotten themselves away from everything from season 2, season 4 is actually entertaining. It's fun to watch. They've added new characters, the building on the cast. And it's setting up for more in the future. There'll probably be another season, 2 seasons at least of Cobra Kai. I would be surprised if it didn't get 2 more. And depending on what they do with the actors and who they can retain, they might be able to build this into a long-lasting Netflix IP. I like it. I like Cobra Kai. It is certified fresh out the box, and I think you guys should watch it.
My reasoning for not watching it so far is really stupid and very Drew-like, which is just that I'm so rusty on the Karate Kid movies and haven't seen them in so long that like I feel like I want to binge all of them before starting the series, even though I know that it's not necessary. But just because of my stupid broken OCD brain, like my brain has to see those before I can watch the show. Like it just.
So this may be this might help. You can watch the first movie and then the first season, and then the second movie and then the second season. You don't have to watch both movies. The second season talks more about what happened in that second movie, because the first one, it was on YouTube. So I'm sure they didn't know if they were going to get renewed for another season at the time. So They hit all the good stuff from that old fan theory, right? That Johnny Lawrence was actually the good guy. That's what the whole show's based on, is that old fan theory. And so they hit some really good stuff there. Love the show. Can't recommend it enough. Certified fresh out the box. It might be... it's probably one of the better live action shows to watch as a family. There's no cursing, there's no nudity, there's not a lot of blood. You could watch this in a household and everybody, I don't think a little tiny kid is going to enjoy it, but for the most part, you could show it to 10, 8-year-olds, you could show it to your teenage kids, and it's not a bad show.
Hi-ya.
That's all I got on my list, John, but I do want to talk about Deep Rock Galactic later. I know that's on your list.
Yeah, it's on my list to talk about.
I have some notes I'd like to share whenever you finally get there.
Absolutely. I'm excited to talk about that. But yeah, I only have 2 things I want to start. We're doing stuff we watched, so I'm going to start with that. I talked about most of what I've been watching on last episode, but I just started. I haven't finished even the first episode, but I just saw this. Just came out. Archive 81. It's on Netflix. I didn't finish the first episode all the way. I didn't have time. But from what I saw, it seems very interesting. There's something going on. The main character is set to restore these videotapes from this fire that happened. And he has to do it on site because they're delicate. And so he has to go down the Catskills by himself kind of thing. It's just a very interesting premise. I'm not sure what's going to happen. I feel like spooky stuff's going to happen. I really don't know. So I don't know. I'm going to be watching. This is one of the shows I'm going to be watching. So this is almost a preview for what to expect me to talk about next time.
I've never heard of it, but I did just Google it. And
you guys are talking about Archive 81. What's streaming? What
Netflix.
Is that on, John?
Archive 81 on Netflix. Yeah.
Okay.
The first hit that came up after Googling it is from the Daily Beast, and their headline is, Netflix's Archive 81 is the first binge-worthy horror series of 2022. So there you go.
Yeah,
okay.
It sounds like this is, that's why I put it on here, even though I haven't watched it yet.
Is it looks like Area 51 type of situation?
I don't know. I really don't know. I haven't seen enough of it. It looks really creepy though. It looks like it has that psychological thriller stuff going on with it. I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to watch it. I will be watching this, and I'll get back to you next episode. And then the other thing that I watched, I feel like, Gary, did you watch Ghostbusters yet?
No, it's actually, I was going to watch it, but it's not out for streaming yet. It's just out for renting.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, man, that's a bummer.
Yeah, so I'll watch it soon. It'll probably just be a couple weeks, and then I'll catch Ghostbusters.
Yeah, I finally watched it.
Ghostbusters Afterlife?
Yeah, Ghostbusters Afterlife. I finally saw it. I was really excited. So, it's interesting, right? It was almost like it could have been amazing. It really could have been. They started out so strong. And honestly, I never really thought about how Lovecraftian a lot of the Ghostbusters stuff is. Because in the first movie, you know, there's this crazy guy that built this skyscraper in a very strange way out of strange combinations of metal in order to open a portal to another dimension, right? I never really thought about how Lovecraftian that is. But this one, they dig at some of that lore of, like, the afterworld and that kind of thing. And, like, they do it so well. The lore is solid. You know what I mean? The lore is solid. The execution is shit. The fan service is garbage. And it drags everything that they could have had through the dirt. I don't know what to say, man. Like, because, like, in the first, like, third, right, I'm like, this is pretty good. I think this could be really dope, you know? And then in the middle, I'm like, uh-oh. And then in, like, the last act, man, I'm like, this is a piece of garbage. This is a piece of shit. I don't know. I don't know if their writers all quit or what happened, but, like, it went from being really good in the beginning to just absolute trash at the end. I don't know if the producers, like, just
everybody just phoned it in at the end.
I don't know what happened.
That's pretty much how I felt too, and Gary's brother Thomas, who's a Ghostbuster super fan, we both felt that way. Is like, you know, yeah, I felt like midway through, I'm like, this is a solid 4 out of 5. Like, this is good, if not better. And then the end is like a 2 out of 5, and so you have to, like, it's one of those things where the ending can leave a sour enough taste in your mouth to be like,
so bad
that you're like, this whole movie was bad. But I had to take myself back and be like, there was stuff that I liked. I just really didn't like that third act.
There was stuff that I liked a lot. Like you said, about halfway through, I was like, this is really good. About a 4 out of 5.
Once the Walmart scene
takes
place is where the movie starts to plummet.
Exactly. Once they're like, hey, remember the first movie? You're gonna. Sure gonna. It went from, exactly at that moment. Yep. It went straight, like, it was like, in fact, I recall, because I did watch this with my mom, she, during that, like, Walmart scene was like, this is stupid, like, out loud, which she doesn't normally do, you know. She's like, this is dumb, and then she started, like, going to go do something, and exactly at that point. Before that, it was solid. It was 4 out of 5, easy. But yeah, so I'm glad I finally got to say that, because oh my god, that's been eating me up. And before we get to our talk where me and Gary are gonna, you know, jerk off to Deep Rock. Not
on air.
not on air. We'll mute our mics.
Don't worry, we'll turn our cameras off.
There you go. Mass Effect Legendary Edition. I finally started digging into this. I'm in the first game. I'm a Spectre. I'm on a planet covered in ice. I'm having a lot of fun. I'm gonna, you know, talk more about it when I get further in it. But so far, so good. I haven't played very much Mass Effect at all.
What class did you pick?
I'm a Vanguard.
Vanguard is tech and...
No, it's biotic and combat.
Okay.
Yeah, so I can...
I'm a big fan of the Adept. I just full biotics.
Yeah, Adept.
I think I played Adept as well. Might have played Vanguard. I can't remember. And
I'm having a lot of fun mixing and matching my party. I really don't know where it's going to wind up. Because, like, I want the Krogan really bad because he's awesome. But the Turian's super cool. And then the woman, the tech woman in the like full bodysuit, she's awesome as well.
That's Talia, right?
Talia, yeah, she's super cool. I just got her. Right now I have Garrus and Talia as my party, but I might swap out
Tali. I think it's just
Tali.
Tali.
Yeah, it's Tali.
I might swap out.
Tali and Garrus, I think, are the only two that are consistent party members throughout all 3 games.
Oh, party members, yes. I was starting to shake my head like, no, there's characters, but party members, I think you're right.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Yeah, I have them both. I'm still thinking about swapping one of them out for Rex. Having a lot of fun. But yeah, so I'll get back to you. Free on Game Pass, on Xbox Game Pass right now. And then, yeah, our final topic of discussion. Speaking of free on Game Pass, and now, according to Gary, free on PlayStation Network, I believe, right?
It is a
million new
plus
players.
game of the month. Yeah.
There are 6 million new players to Deep Rock Galactic this month because of PlayStation.
Deep Rock Galactic. All right, so it's been out, right? It's been out for a while. We probably talked about it before. The reason we are bringing it up, one, yeah, PlayStation Network, 6 million new users. It's competing with Halo at this point. Gary was saying in numbers.
Those are the numbers I wanted to talk about, man.
Yeah.
I actually
Crazy
have them
numbers.
written down.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, and then we'll talk about why we think that is. Yeah.
So in November is when Deep Rock Galactic released Season 1. This is when they started their seasonal stuff.
First time, yeah.
This article is from November. It says, the Alien Dwarf Shooter this month hit a concurrent player record of over 40,000 players, thanks largely to the launch of Season 1. So you're looking at 40,000 monthly players in November. That was before it hit PlayStation with 6 million extra people who can now play it, who couldn't play it before.
Yeah.
I want to compare this to other games that are out, that are free, that are on Game Pass. And so my biggest one is Halo, right? That's probably the biggest multiplayer title out right now.
Yeah.
And this, to me, is a big evidence of Microsoft's misstep and mismanagement. Over the last 30 days, the average numbers of players in the game has dropped from 100,000 to 47,000 as of December of 2021. So they have their almost 50,000 Halo players.
Yeah.
In November, there were over 40,000 Deep Rock players. Now 6 million more people have it.
Yeah.
The studio that made Deep Rock Galactic,
Ghost Ship Studios?
Ghost Ship Studios, they're owned by Coffee Stain Publishing, and Coffee Stain got bought by THQ. All of Coffee Stain, what they've done is Deep Rock Galactic, Goat Simulator, Valheim. Those are all of their biggest titles. THQ bought that whole company for $400 million.
That's nice.
All of their properties. Halo was developed, took $500 million for the AAA title.
Yeah.
So Deep Rock is outperforming it. The studios are outperforming it. The publishers are outperforming it. And Microsoft is just sinking money into an old IP that they think is going to make it. Meanwhile, this indie game that came out of nowhere is just blasting its records away and going cross-console as quickly as they can with new updates every month.
Yeah, it is pretty crazy. They don't have the handicap that Halo has in being an exclusive to Microsoft. But they are competing with fucking Halo, which is impressive.
The one thing I couldn't find, Jahan, were the development cost of Deep Rock versus the development cost of Halo. Halo's is around $500 million.
Yeah.
I don't know what Deep Rock's is, but I can promise you it's not around $500
that game,
million.
Yeah, not at all.
It was probably developed for less than $200,000.
So yeah, we talked about the numbers. We talked about the end result. Let's talk about why. This game is constantly updated, right? They constantly they have randomly generated maps in cave systems that are done very well. And they've recently added new map shapes, so like you're getting more variety to those randomly generated dungeons than you were before. They did that just on the DL.
And
all of these updates are
new
free.
Biomes, and so not only does it change, not only do you have new shapes to your map, you have new colors, new flora, new fauna.
Yeah, they've added all of that. They've also added several, maybe like 3 or 4 new mission types completely. And then they've added like different events that happen during missions, and in such a way that every mission, you never know what's going to happen. It could be pretty run of the mill. it could be the living edge of excitement. You don't know. It could be a milk run. It usually isn't. You never know when a dreadnought's going to show up, or you're going to have to do an AI hacking that can be pretty difficult on top of whatever else is going on. This game does everything right. It is one of the greatest co-op games, period. Just period. It's fantastic. I can't say enough nice things. And they have a board game coming out, which I am thrilled about, and I hope we get to play it live on stream. Deep Rock Galactic, yeah. And it's only $30, like at the highest price, but it's also free on PlayStation Network and Game Pass currently.
Yeah, I've been playing Deep Rock consistently for 2 years now. My game time played is over 15 days of Deep Rock Galactic. I love it. And they're not looking to develop a new Deep Rock 2 anytime soon. They're not looking to add a new character type. They're just going to keep building on what they have.
Oh, yeah. They just released a brand new primary weapon for each of the classes.
They also added in this massive boss fight where you fight like a giant pyramid of doom of hell. So it just keeps on giving. I mean, I've never played a game like Deep Rock Galactic where they really keep giving back to their community at such a consistent rate, and you don't have to pay for any of it.
Yeah, Gary's played for like 15 days. I played for like 7, like just straight play hours, and we are still constantly surprised. We're like, what is that? Like, it's like a living world. I don't know. Deep Rock Galactic.
I actually just got my wife playing with me. Now that I have the Series X, I passed her my Xbox One, and I left a few games on there, and so I was able to get her to play Chivalry with me a little bit. And she's actually really taken to Deep Rock Galactic. She actually really enjoys it. And I just can't. I mean, it was one of my top 5 games. It will always be one of my top 5 co-op games of all time.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what else Ghost Ship Games will put out in the future, but I am 100. I have so much faith in the studio right now, the way they treated their fans.
Yeah, they treat their fans very well. They're always giving you free stuff, always giving you new ways to enjoy yourself, and always giving you new unlocks, which was something that I feel like we might have complained too hard on Halo a little bit. I feel a little bad, but they don't give you as much unlock stuff as you get in Deep Rock at all. Like, all the unlocks, the game's always evolving. Fantastic. That's all for my hot takes. I certify Deep Rock Galactic fresh all day, forever. If you haven't played it, try it for sure.
It's double. That's double certified.
Double certified.
But it's not a great single player game.
I do just want to jump in, not to defend Halo by any means, but I do want to say I think it's funny that the most recent news story involving Halo is about how at the time of this recording next week they're going to be decreasing their microtransaction prices for cosmetics because I guess people have been complaining about them and selling, so they're reducing prices there. Thought that was funny, but I had literally, while we were recording the show, because I have a good attention span and everything, looked at Twitter and saw that John Carpenter, the master of horror himself, just tweeted 2 hours ago. So while we've been recording, and said, Halo Infinite is a fun shooter, immense beautiful production design, best of the Halo series. So John Carpenter, the master of horror himself, he sounds like he gives Halo Infinite, he says it's certified fresh out the box. So there you go.
I've always said, fuck John Carpenter. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
I like John Carpenter.
I've always said that he doesn't know what he's talking about. I didn't say he couldn't make a horror movie. It's just fuck John Carpenter. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
John, don't listen to this guy. And if you want to come on our podcast and defend Halo Infinite, please, we invite you.
Yeah, please come on, John Carpenter. I would love to. I'll play Halo with you.
John Carpenter, if you come on, I'm just going to put my hands over my ears because I don't give a fuck what you have to say.
It's so mean. But yeah, no. I don't know. Maybe I haven't played the campaign yet on Halo. I really want to play the campaign co-op, though. Is that a thing yet? No? Okay. Well, that's very upsetting. So, Halo, I feel like Halo could have been great, and it shot itself in the foot, and I have complaints, is the long and short of that.
That's a $500 million crash
Disappointment.
into a wall.
Yeah, it is. And like you said, yeah, I was complaining about the cosmetic. See, to me, expensive add-ons and stuff like that just show a lack of caring and a great amount of disrespect for your fan base, in my opinion. You're just trying to rip the money out of their pockets. That's my opinion on the matter. Freemium can work, but damn.
And we couldn't have had this conversation at a better time after all the stuff that Deep Rock Galactic does right.
Yeah.
And the price at which they can do it versus what the fuck Microsoft is doing. It's just they should feel bad about Halo.
I feel a little more I feel a little less angry towards Halo. I don't hate it. I'm not mad at it. It is what it is. It's a AAA title.
We should do. We should get John Carpenter to play Deep Rock Galactic, and then then maybe he'll stop talking about Halo all the time.
Yeah, can play a good game, Mr. Carpenter.
He very openly tweets about his video game experiences. He loves video games, but he only plays like AAA. He loves NBA 2K, and he loves the Assassin's Creed franchise. So there you go.
What is he, a college bro? No, there's nothing wrong with that. You like what you like, I'm not gonna. There's all kinds of gamers in the world, but yeah, man, Deep Rock Galactic, love it. Those are my fresh takes.
On that note, I think thank you all for listening to episode 29.
Wow,
of Fresh Out the Podcast. Where can everybody find you guys?
I'm Jehananon. I'm at RockFact on Twitter, at Jehananon1 on TikTok, and you can follow me to watch unboxings and TTRPG content and stay up to date on what's going on in indie games across the spectrum.
I'm at Casualty CDG, and if you want to see me pretend to be other people in worlds that don't actually exist, you can tune in to Fresh Out the Box every Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday from 8 p.m. until 11 p.m., where Jahan and I play tabletop role-playing games and board games, along with a stunning cast of friends. Right now, we've just started a couple of brand new games. We're playing Icons with a whole brand new cast. That's our superhero game.
On Wednesdays.
And we're also, that's on Wednesdays. And we're also starting our Wild Sea game. We'll have started it by the time you hear this. Which is an indie game that's all about perusing the treetops of ironwood trees with saw-prodded ships. There are sentient races of spider colonies. There are cactus folk and mushroom people. It's a whole thing. It seems like a whole lot of fun, and we're excited to play these new games with new people every week. And finally, tell your friends about Fresh Out the Podcast. It's over 1,000 downloads, man. That's crazy. It's a real show. It's a real podcast. Here we are. Episode 30 is our next one. What the hell, right? What happened? How did this happen? This is a podcast, and you like it now. And tell your friends that they like it too. Thank you.
And you can find me at Drew Munhausen on Twitter, and I will send you all off with one short story. So today, when I was seeing The Kingsman in theaters, during the trailers, there was a trailer for Jackass Forever, the new Jackass trailer, which I personally think looks quite funny. And after the trailer ran, there's a brief moment of quiet between that trailer and the next trailer. And of the other, 4 people that were in the theater, one lady turns to her husband and says, "That looks stupid." And to that lady, I say, "No, you look stupid."
Bam.
Hit us on Twitter with the hashtag #NoYouLookStupid. We've been Fresh Out the Podcast. Thank you so much.